for the Steelmen. They're actually against the cup holders Inverness, who have just suffered one defeat in their last 9 games, and they came to Fir Park here in November and won 3-1. Greg Tansey was on the score sheet that day, and he's been in the headlines this week as his potential move to Aberdeen fell through. John Hughes, Inverness boss, said he had every right to try and fight to keep Tansey, and he'll be looking for similar battling qualities from his side today. In regards to team news, Motherwell make 2 changes from that side that lost 1-0 to Partick Thistle. In comes Morgaro Gomez for his debut, and Kennedy comes into the back 4, but perhaps surprisingly for Motherwell, Louis Malk, the top scorer, drops to the bench, and so does youngster Ben Hall. So they go with Ripley in goal, a back 4 of Law, Kennedy, McManus and Hamill. Gomez and Lasley in holding midfield, with Cadden, Pearson and Johnson supporting McDonald up front. On the bench for the Steelmen, Samson, Lang, Ainsworth, Chalmers, Moult, Leach and Thomas. For the visitors today, Inverness, well, they make no changes from that side that drew 0-0 with Partick Thistle. It's Fawn Williams in goal, a back 4 of Raven, Warren, Devine and Tremarco. Tansey and Vigors in holding midfield, with Matumbo, Draper, Williams and Story up front. On the bench for the Highlanders, Essen, Ryan Williams, who's a new signing, Jordan Roberts, Nat Wedderburn, Liam Polworth, Liam Hughes, who's another signing for John Hughes' side, and Jason Brown. And the referee for today's game is Stephen McLean.
Okay, thanks to Craig Turnbull. We'll be back to him very shortly. Ruffy, Morgaro Gomez, I think Motherwell have done really well getting Gomez. He maybe just tailed off, I think, a lot of personal things that had troubled him over the last couple of months, and just wasn't able to replicate his form.
No, but certainly when he was on form, he was a player, obviously, that Mark McGee has identified that would suit into the style that he's playing, and certainly with the players he's got in there. Maybe he sees Keith Lasley putting in a shift week in, week out, and maybe he needs to be taken out of the equation, you know, just to give him a breather now again. But no, I think everybody knows that what Gomez will bring to that team. Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be, it's like any player arriving, you know, you've got to give the team a boost, and a player of his ability could do that. You know, he's just, you know, you can see that the job that they've been trying to do at Partick Thistle, and Mark McGee's got a job to do at Motherwell in a similar fashion, trying to rebuild the side and strengthen the side. So players of that quality coming to Scottish football is great for the game. Yep, okay. So Motherwell against Inverness Cally Thistle is one of the matches. Elsewhere, I think we've got a couple of tasty ones. Dundee United against Partick Thistle. We'll go to Derek Clark shortly for the teams, hopefully, on that one. But this is a game, Ruffy, where, you know, Thistle have been playing well. Dundee United, have they steadied the ship? Are they worthy of some criticism that's been coming their way, letting the likes of Suter go and Ryan McGowan to Henan in China? That's brought a bit of criticism up on Tayside as well. Yeah, I think obviously the supporters have had a large say in the last 4 or 5 months of what's been happening at the club, although that I don't think you could refuse £375,000 pounds for a player who's coming out of contract, you know, so you've got to take the money. And if I saw Mixer this morning in the paper saying that he's brought in players, he thinks he's brought in quality players, and but the proof will be in the pudding, you know, when they're actually playing today and winning games, because he'll have to do something, because the supporters are still not 100% behind what they're doing up there. Yep, here is the Dundee United side for you. Kawashima, Dillon, Payton, Mackay, Rankin, Spittle, Dow, Murray, Gunning, Donaldson and DeMel. What a change side when you think of some of the young players that were getting regular football in that United side under Jackie McNamara. All change under Mixu. It's all changed. He's brought in some players. Demel, or whatever you pronounce it. Demel. I know him from down south. Good player. I said that right at the beginning. Good player if he's fit. If he's fit, he'll certainly hold the ball. He can bring people. He's got good vision. I like Boy Spittle. I like him. He's a good player. And he's sort of come to his own recently, and I just think he's standing up and he's being counted, and he's doing it for Mitsu, but he needs the other 10 players to do the same. See, I think Mixu's, you know, he's gave everybody, the team that Jackie had, the players that were there,
I think he's gave them ample opportunity to prove himself to him as a new manager.
Yeah.
To try and play for him. He's gave them ample opportunity, but the results weren't coming. So Mixer's had to change it and bring in some players and try and strengthen the squad. But it's all about battling for points. He's in a precarious situation at the moment, and it's all about battling every week and trying to get points, and it's all survival for him. But at the same time, he's bringing in some quality players, which could add, which is needed. But the ones that are left out can learn from this situation as well.
Yep, absolutely. Is it fair to say your old side, Rocky, are the favourites in this one?
I wouldn't say they're favourites. I still think Dundee United at home. They're always creating chances. Guys have talked about the wee boy Spittle, who's on fire just now. We're not talking about Mackay as much. If the two of them were to sort of hit up a partnership, there would be chances to be taken. But unfortunately for Partick Thistle, all we're doing is talking about players who are leaving the club rather than players who are staying, players that are out of contract. And if Lawless and the other boy Brannigan was to leave, that would be a big miss, because you have to replace these quality players. But they'll go up there. It's a strange one for the boy Lawless. He's got to play in this game today, and they've already identified him. I think they've already spoken to him, and they want him. And so I don't know what will be going through in his head today.
Yep, I'll tell you, there's some other good ties. We're talking about East Kilbride Celtic. What about Ross County against Linlithgow Rose, Ruffy? That is a magical trip for them against the Ross County side. I don't think it'll need to be too much of a motivational speech from Jim McIntyre when you consider their efforts last week against Celtic. No,
I think everybody in that Ross County setup will want to play today after last week. It depends whether he tinkers with the team a wee bit. But certainly I think everybody would want to go out onto the park today and get the applause that the supporters will give them, and quite rightly so. So it's going to be a tough afternoon for the other team. But I don't know. I think that if they set the stall out, they can make it difficult for Ross County. But I think in the end of the day, I think they'll run out quite easily winners. Yeah.
If there's any shocks, Mac, I'm looking Dumbarton Dundee. Could that be a slippery one?
That's the one I thought. Yeah, Dumbarton at home. We all know it's a great place, Dumbarton, but it's a horrible place to go and play football down there. And with the wind up, with the wind up, and it's I think it could be hard for Paul Hart and his side. But if they go down there and just do it, we believe that they're playing three up front again, which is great. Paul likes that. And if they get down there and play to their capabilities, then I think they'll win it. But that could be the shock of the day.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing the minute you said, it's a horrible place to go, Joe and I laughed because we thought, wow, there's no nightclubs then in Dumbarton. It can be the only reason, Joe, for Marcus suggesting that Dumbarton is a horrible place to go.
He's out through it.
It's a lovely place to go. To the people of Dumbarton, I apologise profusely for Macca staying on the area. But nevertheless, Dundee are obviously expected to be the favourites for that one. And there's Annan Athletic against Morton. Now this one, Joe, to be fair, Jim Chapman's side coming up against Jim Duffy's. Obviously, Morton couldn't really put a dent on Rangers, but this is a great chance for either of these sides to go into the next round again.
Yeah, it is, and Jim Chapman's side's, he's been known to throw a shock in now and again, so, I think it would be good, but I think Morton's are a good side at the moment. They're playing well, playing with a bit of confidence. Jim Duffy's got them playing good football, so I think Morton will be comfortable winners today, to be honest.
Who would have thought Morton at the beginning of the season would be up challenging for a playoff spot?
Yeah.
You would never have thought that. And Jim's went in there and just quietly
went
about his
been under the radar.
And he's very knowledgeable. But people forget he was down at Chelsea for a while, and he's probably learnt off a lot of very, very good managers.
Well, I have to say that he's probably a lesson, Ruffy, to a number of chairmen, that if you can go for someone with a bit of experience who knows the ropes and can use his contacts as well, that's exactly what he's done. As Macca said, he's managed to steady the ship and suddenly get them to an elevated position.
Yeah, that's when managers go for jobs, that'll be a big thing that's high up there, because obviously a lot of these clubs like Morton don't have money. So if you can get a player in who's got contacts, who can tap some of the people down there and bring players up who have got a better quality, and that's what he's done. He's brought 2 or 3, but he's certainly still stuck by some of the guys that he's got, and I think we had him in the show, and basically this year he just wants to stay in that division, but I think he'll be pleased if he could get into that top 4.
Okay, coming up after the break, we'll discuss in greater detail, of course, Rangers 0, Kilmarnock 0. That'll go to a replay. Good result for Lee McCulloch in the caretaker position. The big shock of the afternoon will undoubtedly be Leicester City. They're 3-1 up at the Etihad. And it looks as if that's finished now. That's something we're going to talk about, because what a result for Leicester. Can they win the Barclays Premier League? We'll discuss that next. And Alec doesn't really have any hair of great note, but Ruffy was happy, a man at peace with himself with his mullet. So, with that in mind, we will bring you the teams from Dundee United against Partick Thistle, but let's get a little flavour of the build-up to that game. Derek Clark is up there at Tannadice.
Yeah, United will obviously be buoyed by that 5-1 thrashing over Kilmarnock a fortnight ago that I witnessed here. They were very impressive that day, and I'm sure Mixu passed the line and they would have been gutted for the league match against today's opponents that was postponed last week, because no doubt about it, they would have bounced into that game hoping to keep up the momentum going. United are no doubt weaker though than when I saw them 2 weeks ago. John Souttar's obviously been allowed to leave for Hearts for what I imagine on the face of it seems a paltry figure of just over £100,000. Team-wise today, the obvious omission is Souttar. In his place comes Ryan Dow. For Thistle, meanwhile, they also come into the game off the back of that impressive league win in midweek over Motherwell. The late show, Stephen Lawless scoring the winning goal, and the fact that his inclusion in the team today adds a bit of spice into this tie, because United obviously want to prize him away from Firhill. So I think it's got all the makings of a cracker here at Tannadice. It's United against Partick.
Okay, we will bring you the two teams very shortly with Derek Clark. I think he's got an absolute crack at the Scottish Cup today, right across the board. If there's a goal anywhere, we'll bring it to you. Rangers 0, Kilmarnock 0 from the early kick-off. And let's not forget also, we have the league fixtures. Now, there are two games that I'm going to talk about just shortly, but let me quickly give you some teams. Ross County against Linlithgow Rose, Gary Woods, Fraser, Boyd, Quinn, Record, DeVita, Irvin, McShane, Franks, Graham and Schalk. So that's the team that's going to take to the field for Ross County. And of course, we've been singing their praises all this week. We had Ian McShane on the programme at the start of the week, Macca. They played so well, they worked so hard, they put in a real shift and were well deserving of their victory over Celtic, albeit against 10 men.
Well, it was silly defending again by Celtic, and that man, you know, he can be a good player, but we keep talking about him making mistakes, Effie Ambrose, and he get caught letting the ball go by him. I think, to be fair, it was a penalty. Whether it was a sending off, I don't know, but it did change the game. But there's no, Celtic can't have any quibs about it. You know, Ross County, like Aberdeen midweek, they were up for it. They were straight in their face. They won the battle, Peter, and I keep saying that about this Celtic team. Without Scott Brown, they don't seem to want to go into a battle, and he's the only one that seems to want to get his sleeves rolled or get dirty, if you like. With him back, it might change, but the Celtic team's been a bit light for me, and Ross County and Aberdeen sort of steamrolled them.
Yeah, Linlithgow Rose, not too many household names. Adams, Tyrrell, Rory McLennan, Leiper, Batty, Batchelor, McKenzie, Tom, Weir, Kelly and Coyne at the starting 11 for Linlithgow. I don't think I'm doing them any disservice in suggesting that is not a day where I would think there's going to be a shock, Ruffy, unless you're going to tell me otherwise.
No, I don't think there will be a shock. I think, like East Kilbride, they'll go up there and try and put up a respectable display. But I was going to say, when you read out the team there, I didn't know if the two boys here recognised Tommy Coyne's boys in the centre forward with Linlithgow. So his dad will be chuffed if he could possibly get a goal up there today.
Yeah,
He's been banging in goals. I was just about to mention before you said Tommy Coyne's Eric's teammates.
Yeah, if there's a little tip for you, Joe, at any point, if you've got something in your head, don't point it out, because Ruffy steals everybody's points.
I know.
I've just stole another point out. I mean, you may be able to back this up here. Just reading it there, that Leicester City side's got, what is it, 7 free transfers on the side. I find that hard to believe.
Why? They're not
7 free transfers.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, to be fair, they did pay, I think, £1 million to Fleetwood for Jamie Vardy, which was, I think, some clubs balked at it, but they took the plunge. They saw the potential, and he's delivered big time, albeit late in his career. But that is just a sensational result today. Manchester City won. Leicester City 3, and they've got a bit of daylight at the top of the Barclays Premier League. We'll look at the Barclays Premier League, but also going to look across all the divisions in Scotland, because the teams that have been knocked out of the Scottish Cup are in league action today. we'll be looking at Aberdeen's chance to draw level with Celtic at the top of the Premiership here in Scotland. We'll also look to St Mirren against Queen of the South in the Championship. We had Alec Ray on the programme last night. Interesting insight into his side. And we'll look at League One and League Two as well. Now you can interact with us this afternoon at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. You can go to peterandruffy.com and interact with some of the polls we're putting out on Twitter, especially will Aberdeen win the title? Not can Aberdeen win the title, will they win the title? We will give you that poll as it's shaping up over the course of the afternoon at Peter and Ruffy, and you can give us your view on that. Really looking forward to your company this afternoon. Just one of those little shaky technical starts, but we are flying now. And as ever, STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow on a Saturday afternoon. We're here to bring you all the scores in the company of Alan Ruff, Joe Miller and Frank McAvenny. Join us after the break. We're getting closer to the big kick-off in the Cup and the leagues as well. Hi to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. I'm Peter Martin and I'm joined by three fantastic pundits today, looking absolutely magnificent. Frank McAvenny, Joe Miller and Ruffy. I know you can't see it at the moment because obviously some people are fashion icons. I know a lot of people would watch what Frank was wearing on a weekly basis when he was at the peak of his powers. and of course quite a lot of people, a lot of kids looked at what Joe was wearing because they were wearing the same gear, and also for the people who were completely out of touch, it's good to see you've got the old peach trousers back with you today again,
Yes,
Robbie. Honestly, why do you persevere with them? I have to ask you. It's just a shock.
My bare peach.
It's just a fashion statement. That's
Yes, yes, that you don't care. Anyway, here's the three guys.
You thought you would never mention.
Absolutely. He wears them all the time and I think to myself, why? Anyway, I digress. We've got lots to talk about this afternoon. Hopefully you're going to join us. A wee bit of banter here and there, a wee bit of chat, find out what the guys have been up to, looking at some of the papers in the morning, the back page headlines, some of the events over the last week, and of course right up to date with all the goals as they hit the back of the net. We're getting ever closer to kick-off. Let's get the teams from Tannadice. Derek Clark.
Yeah, one change, as I mentioned, for Dundee United from the team that beat Kilmarnock a fortnight ago. So out goes John Suter, who's joined Hearts. In comes Ryan Dow. So they line up Kawashima in goals, back three of Dillon, Donaldson and Gunning, a midfield five of Spittle, Dow, Rankin, Demel and Payton, with Murray and Mackay up top. On the bench for the Arabs this afternoon, Zwick, Dixon, Noyle, Fraser, Dunnan, Anier and Cinema Pongol. For Thistle, they line up Cherney in goals, the back four of Miller, Franz, Seaborn and Booth, with Bannigan and Osman holding. In front of them Lawless, Welsh and Lindsay supporting Chris Doolan up top. On the bench for Thistle this afternoon, Ryan Scully is a sub goalie, Amu, Elliott, Nesbitt, Edwards, Fraser and Pogba. And I hope both teams have been training with 10 men this week, because the referee is Willie Collum.
There you are, a wee bit of controversy thrown in there from our reporter as well. For me, I think Willie gets I think he gets too much criticism, Willie Collum. Is that? I think some people are over the top.
You're not going to have him arguing and sticking up for referees again.
No, not this week
It's
anyway.
But Willie, he's just
over officious.
Yeah, a wee bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want your officials to just have a little bit of common sense, you know, and just and I don't think Willie's got any common sense in him.
Yeah.
He's just
Maka, come on. I mean, do you know the thing about it? This is a referee who is on the FIFA list and who has a great reputation across Europe.
But not in Scotland. That's good.
Yeah, I mean,
this is where he plays his trade. He should have a good reputation in Scotland before you go and get a reputation abroad. I just think he's a good referee. Just have a bit of common sense. Sometimes it's not a booking. Sometimes doesn't he send people off, you know? And it's just if he's ever played the game, sometimes a tackle is just a tackle. It's an accident, and you don't need to send him off for that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one today at Ibrox. Ruffy never seen it, but to me it was a total send off. His feet was so high off the ground. It could have hurt somebody. It could really have give somebody a bad injury. They kind of things. That's a sending off. But Willie sends off people for things that you go, is that really a sending off?
Okay, Maka's not a fan of Willie Collum, so probably won't be invited to any of his parties in the future, but nevertheless, he's in charge, and whether there are sending offs, we will find out over the course of the afternoon. Let's look at some of the fixtures for the afternoon for you to get a little insight into what you can look forward to. Now let's look at two games, Premiership and Championship. I'm going to talk about them and get the predictions from these guys as well. There you have it, St Johnstone against Aberdeen in the Premiership, which will give Aberdeen the chance to draw level with Celtic at the top of the Premiership, and there's St Mirren against Queen of the South. We were maybe putting too much pressure, Ruffy, on Alec Ray, suggesting that St Mirren could be pushing for a playoff place with only 7 points of a difference, but I think it's the fact that we regard Alec so highly. Yeah,
and obviously when he went in there, his remit is to obviously get out of the relegation battle, and that would be his first challenge. But I would think the more wins he gets under his belt, he'll start looking at another challenge, and that challenge will be to get into the playoffs. I know he's 7 points off the pace, but if to beat Queen of the South today, who are one of the clubs who are trying to get into that playoff, then that'd be another 3 points clearer. Neither. So I would think that he would start looking up the table rather than behind.
Yeah, okay. Let's look at the fixtures for the League One now, because there are far more games on than off, because a number of these teams are no longer involved in the Scottish Cup. Ayr Oriens against Cowdenbeath, Ayr United against Peterhead is just an absolute cracker. Forforth Athletic against Stranraer, and Stenhousemuir against Dunfermline. And in League 2 this afternoon, just to cast your eye over it, Arbroath against Stirling Albion, Berwick Rangers, East Stirling, Montrose, East Fife, and that one there, Queen's Park against Elgin City. I think a number of teams will be watching those fixtures this afternoon. But the main focus of our attention this afternoon is the Scottish Cup. Here are indeed the fixtures. If you have just joined us, Rangers nil, Kilmarnock down to 10 men. Callum Higginbotham sent off, but they held on for the replay. Annan Athletic against Morton, Dumbarton Dundee, Dundee United against Partick Thistle, Motherwell Inverness, and Ross County against Little and Lithgow Rose, with Hearts against Hibs and East Kilbride against Celtic. We will talk about later on in the programme as well. So we usually have a wee treble, and this time we've included Macca on this one. Motherwell I've gone for. Macca, who did you pick?
St Mirren. I just think since we keep talking about them, St Mirren, they've got to start looking up, and I think this is a game that, you know, they've got to win. So I just think everything's turned the corner, hopefully, for St Mirren, and they start winning a few more games, and they've got to win their home game. So, and it's a good price, so I thought, yeah, go for that. Yeah,
and of course I'm maybe taking a chance on Motherwell at home to Inverness Cally Thistle, Ruffy, but I just get a sneaky feeling they might be able to do it. You've gone for?
I've went for Dundee away to Dumbarton. I know Frank thinks it'll be a tough one because Dumbarton's not nice a place, but I think the football will be the...
Can I just clarify something, Ruffy? The thoughts of Frank McAvenny are not necessarily the thoughts of the entire programme, to be honest with you. So we're distancing ourselves from
it's
that.
It's a hard place to go.
Listen, you've already caned Dumbarton and Willie Collum, but you're on a...
It's a hard place to go and get a result.
Yeah, it's absolutely. The place itself is nice and lovely. Good if you want to go away for a wee weekend. Okay, a day. Joe, if you were picking a team for a wee treble for us today, what would...
For a wee treble, I would... it wouldn't be in the Scottish Cup, it would be the league, even between Aberdeen and St Johnstone.
Yeah. Do you like Perth? A nice one.
Don't go there, Joe. Don't bite.
I'm not biting, but I just feel that Aberdeen, the momentum is just going to carry on with them. I think they'll get a result after.
Yeah, okay, let's quickly take you through the teams as the games all get underway across the Scottish divisions and of course the Scottish Cup matches, and I can tell you St Johnstone, Manus, Fisher, Scobie, Anderson, Shaughnessy, Wotherspoon, Swanson, Craig, Miller and McLean. Of course they have had to make a signing in midweek because of the loss of Dave Mackay. I'll talk about that in a moment, but Brown, Logan, Shinney, Considine, Taylor, McLean, Smith, Hayes, Pollitt, Rooney and Church, who was a midweek goal scorer against Celtic. There's Aberdeen. If you slip up, Ruffy, let's be blunt about it, if you slip up against St Johnstone, I think everybody will write them off.
Yeah, I think that's Aberdeen's problem. You know, they're on, I think it's 11 or 12 game, 11 unbeaten run. You know, they have to keep winning, you know, and it's a big ask to keep that going to 16 games undefeated. So you're looking at it and going, they will slip up. I wouldn't think they'd slip up today. I think Mackay been missing, the Halloran being away. You know, I think St Johnstone aren't playing particularly well. Hibs beat them, I thought, quite easily the other week there. So obviously Aberdeen coming off the highs of the midweek there, and Frank's old chestnut. They're playing two strikers, you know, and the boy Church looks as if he's a bit of a player. So with Church and Rooney up there, with all the other players they've got round about them to supply the goods, I think Aberdeen should win this one.
It's just there's so many teams can't handle it, Peter. It's because it's not in today's game. There's that many managers, they want to do it the European way, one up front and all that, and I just think, no, play two up front. I mean, the boys,
Ziachenko,
he went up, they pushed him up front last week at near the end, and he turned, Scott Brown gave him a ball and he fired it across the box. I'm thinking, there's nobody there. there was not one player in the box in the 6-yard line, and it was just for a tap in. And I thought, you know, if you're playing one up front, you've got to have midfield players that are going to get in there, and they just don't seem to do it. So play two up front, have a go. I'm a great believer in that, Peter. And,
Yeah.
you know, as I keep going back to it, Leicester's proven that.
Yeah, well, let's be blunt about it, Joe. They've managed to, we've all in the media managed to roll out a million and one ex-Celtic players who have absolutely hammered the manager for the performance against Ross County and against Aberdeen. He's quite clearly going to stay in charge, whether that's an act of defiance or an act of solidarity or strength of opinion in backing the manager. Sooner or later, the board are taking a huge gamble at Celtic on a man. Certainly not maybe tomorrow, but on a gamble on this league title in the remaining, 14 games?
Yeah. I mean, everybody, you know, ex-players, we've read in the papers, you know, you've had ex-players for Celtic coming up with their opinions on what should happen. And nobody likes to see a guy lose his job, but at the same time, you know, he's been asked to do a job and he's been asked to you know, he's been given players. And I think that the question is, you know, why is the manager not being able to bring his own players in? If you're getting a job, and all the managers down here, Frank will tell you, that he's played under and I've played under, they had total control and they went out and bought the players, they went across, were watching games in Europe, watching players. They don't seem to do that now. You've got scouts and agents and they're coming in with the players and they're just landing in clubs' laps. So managers are just having to pick them and play them for the training sessions.
I believe Ronnie's he's bringing these players in.
I've been told
He's bringing the players in.
Well, what does it matter who's bringing them in? Because at the end of the day, maybe 5 years ago, I think we were all highly critical of you know, directors of football, chief executives, chairmen suddenly buying. Obviously, it's something the norm in places like Madrid, where suddenly the owner or the chairman would just say, "Here's a player, you coach him." Now it's not uncommon. Now you could get, you know, a chief executive, a head of scouting to buy players. The problem is not the players being brought in. I think the biggest problem is the coach is unable to get. There's a huge pool of players, Joe. He cannot get the best out of them, and he cannot sort the defence out.
I know, but going back to, and that's the football aspect of it. But if you dissect everything that's going on with the recruitment, with the way things are run, the Celtic supporters aren't happy with things. They've turned out in numbers if they were happy, but they're not. They're not happy seeing the quality that's on the park. I don't think things are getting pieced about. I think there's been too much money wasted over the years bringing players, and they've not even kicked a ball for Celtic. It's all about opinions, but at the same time, you don't like to see a manager lose his job. But there has been times this season where it's not been acceptable. The results haven't been acceptable. The Celtic fans, you know, I've gave them every opportunity, but I think if you go out and speak to them just now, they're not very happy with what's going on, what they're seeing.
Well, can I tell you something, Frank? Even with Jason Denneyer and Virgil van Dijk, Celtic still couldn't do anything in Europe. Couldn't get to the stages where the Celtic fans wanted. We've
known now since he's walked through the front door, the defence has not been great, and I just think somebody's got to sort. Who is it that's supposed to be sorting that? Is it John Kennedy? Now, for me, John's a lovely guy, but he got a bad injury. He's not played the game enough to sort a defence like that out, I think. So who's now in control? Like when Lenny was there, it was you call him Big Swede was there. Mjällby, Big Johan was there, and he could sort that out. Even then, it didn't get sorted out to the best of the ability. But Celtic have never had. I mean, going back through, they've never had a great defence. I mean, when you look at it, they've never really had that.
I'm not so sure I agree with you, Frank.
Yeah, they had Martin O'Neill
had a good team.
But you look, Martin O'Neill had a defence of quality, quality international players, all playing at the top of international football. Mjällby,
Can I just suggest something to you? You're going back too far.
No,
you're
but
being
I'm just saying they have.
hypercritical of teams that you're forgetting about. I can tell you. It's St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 1, by the way, I'll tell you. And Paul Quinn has just scored for Ross County against Linlithgow Rose. Just quickly on that point, you need to have a think about the previous teams here. This is a Gordon Strachan side that had a solid defence. Neil Lennon eventually got a solid defence. They were playing against Barcelona and are able to hold them at bay at Celtic Park and win 2-1. You know, they had settled defences. This is the most glaring defence, if anything. I mean, it's not. You have to go back to 10 years ago. Celtic under Gordon Strachan and Neil Lennon had solid defences. They had organised defences. This one is not, because people are now looking and looking through their fingers, thinking this is a set piece. Celtic could lose a goal.
It's organisation, and that's just organisation. Somebody's got to say, look, I want you to play this way, and teach them. I mean, it's not rocket science.
The difference as well, Peter, is in that you've got a back four there that I think we all agree has never ever been settled for whatever reason. So you look at the back four of the last two games, you've got Lustig, who's the only person with any experience whatsoever. You've got Beata just come into the game. Okay, he's not done anything at all. You've got the young boy Tierney who's just breaking in, who has no experience whatsoever. There is no experience in that back four compared to what the back fours that you're talking about, and that is why they got away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you, Rooney is the man who's found the goal for Aberdeen. What a good start, Joe, for your old side, the Dons.
It is, and I thought the other night they were fantastic. I thought, in the first 20 minutes of the game against Celtic, they were, they just kind of soaked up the pressure. I thought Celtic did okay in possession, but they never really hurt Aberdeen. But once Aberdeen got the goal, which was a fantastic goal, the confidence just went through the whole side, and I think they've got a right good shot in the arm, and they're taking it into today's game. Got off to a great start, but they have a great chance. They'll never get a better chance to do something this year. I mean, the past couple of years they've done well in the cups. They're out the two cup competitions this year, so their focus must be on the league.
17 goals for the season for Adam Rooney as well, which is, again, if you're going to challenge for the league, you need somebody who knows the way to go.
Well, I tipped him with Griffiths to be the top goal scorers this year, and he's not let me down. He's, if you're going to have a bet, you bet on Rooney. He's a goal scorer, he's a poacher, and there's nothing better than just getting in behind defenders. He loves lying on people's shoulders, and they don't know where he is because he creeps in the back, and I just think he's a good player. And when you've got someone like that, Peter, if you keep him fit, and you've got the boy Church now, they're playing two up front, so it's good. I think they've got a good chance. I still think Celtic, they've got to come good, because it just can't. It's unthinkable they'll get beat tomorrow. It's unthinkable they don't take a few off his Kilbride, and maybe get the confidence back up.
I've got to tell you that Everton have taken the lead against Stoke City. Lukaku from the penalty spot, and I can tell you in the Scottish Cup it's 0-0 Motherwell against Inverness Cali Thistle. Still waiting on the break. No real chances in that match between Motherwell and Inverness Cali Thistle. We'll keep you up to date with Dundee United against Partick Thistle as well. Two cracking ties involving Premiership sides, and also if you're wondering about Aberdeen in the Premiership, then they're a goal up. Adam Rooney with the goal, and I'm sure Celtic players and the management will be looking on with great interest to see what the Dons are doing today. They will be determined to push Celtic all the way. So Stoke City 0, Everton 1. Earlier today, wait for this one if you just joined us on the Saturday Football Show, Manchester City 1, Leicester City 3. An astounding performance there from Claudio Ranieri's side. And can I suggest to you guys, Ruffy, is it fair to say that if Leicester were to win the Barclays Premier League, it is well worthy of a Hollywood movie?
Oh,
It's a season to remember.
We get Coist there again.
I don't think a shot to glory is really. I don't think there'll be a follow-up.
We keep talking about Celtic ex-players giving their views. I mean, now the old Leicester City players are coming out, Lineker and all them are giving their views on it as well. They were there when the Leicester City side were a right good side with quality players. But this is the ideal year for them, because the big guns just aren't performing consistently enough, and that's their fault more than anybody else's. So if they're to win it, well done to them. Yeah,
could you think of any other Leicester City players? Was Lineker the only one that came into your mind?
No. I remember Gordon Banks playing for Manchester City as well.
I knew right away. I thought there is a big vacuum there after Gary Lineker. There's nobody
Who
else
else was in that side?
I don't remember either.
They did have a 2 or 3.
They had a
Come
few.
back to me in half an hour.
Yeah, you'll think of a few Leicester City.
Lenny was doing it when Martin O'Neill was there.
Do you only think of ex-Celtic players, Macca?
Tony Cotty was there scoring goals for him. Yeah, my ex-teammate. Yeah, it was
Absolutely.
good. They done well.
Okay.
Savage, all these players.
Yeah, okay. Just a few technical hitches we've had this afternoon. Apologies to each and every one of you, but we're back on track. There's a few. What happens is basically I'm working it out. Apart from, we seem to have interference coming in from Ruffy's peach trousers. That's the first thing, and then secondly, there's obviously some other. The picture seems to freeze when Macca consistently links it to ex-Celtic players. So that's exactly what's going to happen throughout the afternoon. We'll probably just go like this, Ruffy, anytime Macca starts mentioning ex-Celtic players. This is a one-trick pony on this one. Motherwell, Dundee and St Mirren's are treble, so we're not doing too well at the moment because there's no goals in the Motherwell Dundee or the St Mirren game. I can tell you it's Airdrie 1, Cowdenbeath 0. And there's a half chance for Inverness in Motherwell Scottish Cup game. Just a little shot there from Mutombo, and it's been blocked, and the chance has been cleared. So that was a real chance there for Inverness, and probably the best chance so far of that match. Joe Miller is here with us alongside Alan Ruff and Frank McAvenny on this Saturday afternoon. We've got a poll going at the moment, and the question is fairly straightforward. It's not can, it's will Aberdeen win the Scottish Premiership? And there you have it. 30% Aberdeen fans living in the central belt of Scotland and 70% no. At Peter and Ruffy, give us your thoughts on that. 70% are saying no. Joe, if Aberdeen were to win the Premiership here in Scotland, a number of people have said that it matches exactly what the great Aberdeen side of the early 80s were able to achieve. Is that fair comment?
That's a fair comment, and I think you just look at the gradual progression that Derek McInnes has made over the past few seasons. He's just been working away quietly, and he's had cup success, but he's always put pressure on the league leaders, Celtic, and with the resources that Celtic's had, they were always going to win that league year in, year out. There's been no Rangers in the league, so there had to be a challenge, and Aberdeen's threw up that challenge, and he's done very well. But I think, with them being out the 2 cups, their focus now can be on the league, the remainder of the league between now and the end of the season, and I don't see why they can have a right good go at it now. But at the same time, I still think Celtic will turn the corner at some point and they'll just kick on. I do think they'll win. I personally think that Celtic will win the league.
Yeah, okay. Macca, do you see it that way?
Yeah, I don't see. I'm delighted for Aberdeen putting a challenge in, but maybe it's what Celtic needed. Kick up the backside. I don't know, but they've got to turn the corner at some point, Peter.
Do you sense, Ruffy, that the neutrals and maybe the non-fans of Celtic are willing Aberdeen on for this one, because this would be a tremendous shot in the arm for our game?
Yeah, I think the neutrals in the game would love to see cups going round the clubs. It's good. We saw Ross County getting into a final, what it does for that part of the country, and there are other teams at Johnson winning it at Perth. So it would. I think it would just give it a wee shake-up. Celtic weren't to win it, but like the guys, I think they will eventually. I think the home game that Celtic's got with Aberdeen will be very, very crucial. But I think it's for Aberdeen to throw it away because the form that they're on. I know everybody keeps saying they've got another 2 or 3 away games to come up. If they were to ride the hurdles, then people might change their mind.
Mark Fitzpatrick has scored that goal for Airdrieonians. They're a goal up on Cowdenbeath. Romelu Lukaku is the first Everton player to score 20 or more goals in consecutive seasons since one Everton player.
Gary Lineker.
You say Gary Lineker. Joe, can you think of an Everton player who scored 20 or more goals in the last 20 years. It's
Graham Sharp.
You going for Graham Sharp, Ruffy? Who are you going for? What are you laughing at?
I'm just wondering if Bob Latchford comes into that. 20 years.
No. The great thing about you, Ruffy seems to remember 2 generations ago. Well done to Joe Miller, Graham Sharp, consecutive seasons in the mid-80s. Graham, we were down there, Ruffy, actually seeing Graham Sharp at the Everton training ground last season. He was just in fine fettle, and would you believe it, he came up here and had a great wee chat about his career. He's a good lad.
Yep, he's a legend down there. And it wasn't until we went to, I mean, you obviously knew the history of Everton, but it wasn't until we went to the actually Everton museum to see the history that they've got. They've got right round the whole wall. They've got everything that team of that era had achieved, and you know, the cups and everything, the European success and everything. I was absolutely stunned.
I played against them in the 80s. They were a great team. You know, they were good. They were a good team. But Sharpie, he was a teammate of mine in Scotland, wasn't he? He's a great lad.
Yeah.
He was a great lad.
Berwick
Great
won,
sense of humour.
East Stirlingshire won, Neil McCabe scoring the equalising goal. See how we're keeping you up to date. We just have a wee chat, then we throw in a scoreline for you, tell you who scored. That's what it's all about. You can interact with us, give us your thoughts on some of those topics we've been discussing. Of course, Rangers 0, Kilmarnock 0. If you're a Rangers fan, you were at the game at Peter and Ruffy. Should you be celebrating being in the next round? Do you think you deserve to win? What about Killie fans? Lee McCulloch, caretaker boss, and manages to show a battling performance from his side to make sure that they get a replay. 0-0, and that's with 10 men. Callum Higginbotham was sent off in that game. Here's the latest from the Scottish Cup so far. So as you can see, 1 goal, Paul Quinn. And I can tell you, John Rankin has had a great opportunity, poor defending by Thistle, and there was Rankin with a great chance. And as you can see in monitor 32, which is the old television that you brought in, Maka, it's what a chance. There's no replay in this one, but John Rankin, what a chance there. That's the best opportunity really in that game, Dundee United.
Yeah, well, Rankin's a good player. I mean, normally he puts him away, Peter, but it was just unfortunate. He didn't finish that one, but yeah, he's a definitely good. Rankin is good. He's up there, and he's a player that Mitchell will rely heavily on.
Yeah, and did you see, Ruffy? I don't know if you you were able to see Maka in full flight there. You know, he's actually coordinating with brain, eyes, looking at the replay there, and then telling us exactly how it happens. I mean, it's your old pro. That's the guy. That's the guy. This is the guy that I used to hang about with in 1985 in Paisley. And I looked at him and I thought, you are a space cadet, and I will not be working with you in 30 years. But here we are together. There you go, Ruffy. And he's working a treat today. He's fantastic. And if I'd said, Joe, you'll be in between these two in a sandwich, you'd have been like that. No danger whatsoever. Absolutely. Okay, Annan 0, Morton 1. Annan 0, Morton 1, Ruffy. What about that? Jim Duffy's side getting the goal in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I thought we all thought that was going to be a really hard one for him. Annan had went off the rails after Jim Chapman had come in the studio here. You know, we usually give somebody a wee rub of the green, but he lost the next 4 games, so he's not been back in. But
that's a good rub, isn't it?
No, Jim Duffy he'll take it, because there are still a lot of small clubs still in that cup, and another favourable draw. And
yeah, but I tell you, Ruffy, what do you make of that score?
Yeah, I just caught it in the side of my eye.
Yes, St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 2. Suddenly, Don's fans are now in dreamland.
Yep, and sometimes you're very wary of coming off a good result, as they did against Celtic. You touched on it earlier. Could this be a wee stumbling? But it isn't, you know, and it's a convincing result just now. And if they were to continue like that and put the pressure on, you know, I mean, that brings them level with Celtic now.
Yes, level on points. And Peter Pollitt is the man who's got the goal, and he's come back in. Suddenly they've got young players coming in. Suddenly everybody wants to play, Maka.
Of course, everyone wants to play now. And when you're a winning team, they had a blip during the season. They went a few games that they were awful. But everyone has a wee dip in form, and they've turned the corner. I think they can go on. I think in the last 11 games, the last 11 games, they've got 4 points more than Celtic, which is, I mean, obviously if that happens again, then Aberdeen's going to take the league, but I don't think that will, I think Celtic will go on, and I still think they'll win it.
Joe?
They should be winning comfortably,
Interesting thing
shouldn't
as
they?
well. Yeah, I think I was reading that he's utilised, I think it was the players that are his team's no changed much.
No.
It's been the same players in the team apart from his new signing coming in, but you know, there's been basically 14 players playing on a regular basis since the start.
I'm a great believer.
That's
Yeah.
the continuity there.
Well, I was
you
going to
know,
say to you, Joe, you know better than anyone, and
Yeah.
Maka knows as well, when you have managers who suddenly have a team that you can rhyme off every week, suddenly you've got a team that are fighting for each other, only one or two sneak into their side, you know, and I'm looking right now, and I don't know if you can talk us through this, Ruffy, but I'm just looking at the Peter Pollitt free kick there. It looks as if it's got a little deflection of Alan Manis there, and it's been deflected and taken away from Alan Manis. He can't get to it, and that's given Aberdeen a 2-0 advantage.
Yeah, it's amazing how that wee nick can just take it away from you. You know, I remember when we played against Holland, there was a wee nick in there. Third goal with Johnny Rep. You know, I thought I'd saved it, and but it just went over my head. It hit Archie Gemmell's boot. But these things happen, and you just have to move on. And hopefully,
Listen, by the way,
Just because Gordon's not here, just that drop.
absolutely. Whatever happened to Gordon Smith? I can tell you, it's 1-0 to St Mirren.
Go on.
And against Queen of the South, and Mallon has scored there. Stephen Mallon's got the goal. I think that's, I mean, if they could get that result today, Frank, I mean, we were talking to Alec Ray last night and saying to him, you know, we think, you know, that with 7 points the difference, you could be battling with Queen of the South and Raith Rovers for that playoff spot.
Well, it's a great chat. I mean, I was talking last week, Alec going in as a new manager and taking his own backroom staff, and Tony going in as chief executive. I just think there's a freshness about St Mirren now, and maybe that was just, they were so down, and Tony's been talking about forwards rather than we're going to sell the club. He doesn't want any of that talk about the place. Alex just went about his business. We know how good a football guy is, and he knows what he's doing. He's in there. It's his first time that he's just been able to get a big, because St Mirren's a big club, and they've got massive support and Paisley, so I wish him all the best, because although it is my old club, I like Alec and he's a good boy, and I'm glad that he's doing well there.
Yeah, and again, you can't legislate for it. You don't actually practice it in training. If you're good at free kicks, you're good at free kicks. Just look at that free kick. Stevie Mallon's just curled that into the back of the net.
They've got it, Ruffy, even if it never touched
not
them.
the first time. You know, that's not the first time Mallon scored, and from that distance. And I don't know about the guys. I mean, we used to play with balls that weren't as light as what they are now. You know, and if you
the tangos.
no,
the tangos. Do you remember the tangos?
No, never.
No, I mean that's what football is all about.
No. The point I'm trying to make is, if these guys were playing with the balls that they're playing with now, and you could put a decent strike on, you know, you would fancy your chances to hit the back of the net.
The balls, they dip, don't they? They get a swerve.
Well, you'll only have to look at Ronaldo and the way he actually hits a certain part of the ball, and you know, it can go crazy. Just another little story that's coming out, lads, while we're keeping you right up to date. Ayr won, Peterhead won. Ayr have got an equaliser in that match. Is the story of Lee Clark being interviewed, Ruffy, for the Kilmarnock job as well. There was a wee chat about Billy Davis. That seems to be fading fast. Lee Clark's been interviewed. I don't know, I think, does Lee McCulloch turn around and say, hey, wait a minute, let's not be too hasty, I'd like to be considered?
Well, I think he will be considered, but I think Kilmarnock have to be seen like all the other clubs who are looking for managers. They have to be seen as sort of looking at what's out there. They have to be seen to be interviewing, because it could backfire on them, that you never saw what was out there.
Lee Clark takes big money though. He's doing decent money.
We always say, you know, the guy in possession. The guy in possession has got it, you know, if he was to beat Rangers in a replay and take them out of the trouble that they're in, who's to say?
You wonder if the Kilmarnock board are trying to think out the box this time, and maybe try and get somebody with contacts down south, and you know, that can bring up English players. I mean, you see what Alan Stubbs has done at Hibs, and you know, bringing up players from England, and he's done very well. So I think they might be thinking out the box this time.
Yeah, Everton are now 2-0 up at Stoke City. So Seamus Coleman, the goal scorer there. Let's take you through the scores in the Scottish Cup first of all. Here's the latest to keep you right up to date with what's happening in the Scottish Cup, because obviously there are 2 matches tomorrow. But of the games today, Rangers 0, Kilmarnock 0 was the early kick-off today, which had Callum Higginbottom sent off for Killie, but they held on for a draw. Annan Athletic 0, Morton 1, Dumbarton 0, Dundee 0, Dundee United 0, Partick Thistle 0, Motherwell 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, and Ross County 1, Linlithgow Rose 0. That's how it looks in the Scottish Cup 5th round. What about elsewhere in the Premiership? I have to tell you, Aberdeen fans are now going crazy. There could be a national holiday declared if this keeps going. St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 2. The Granite City will be a happy place tonight, and St Mirren 1, Queen of the South 0 in the Championship. And I can tell you, the FA Cup in Scotland, I think Connor Ripley's just made a great save for Motherwell after Carl Tremarco had a shot on goal. Let's look at elsewhere in League One in Scotland now. The latest there, Airdrieonians 1, Cowdenbeath 0, Ayr United 1, Peterhead 1, and Forfar Athletic 0, Stranraer 0, Stennismuir 0, Dunfermline 0. And in League 2 this afternoon, Arbroath 0, Stirling Albion 0, Berwick Rangers 1, East Stirling 1, Montrose 0, East Fife 1, and Queen's Park 0, Elgin City 0. So that's you completely up to date. The shock of the afternoon, undoubtedly, Ruffy, is the Leicester City score. 3-1 against Man City.
Yeah, but I don't think Leicester City fans will say that's a shock. They're there because they're there in merit. They're there because they're winning games. They're there because they're beating out all the teams like Man City. So they'll have the confidence now that, particularly winning Man City, to say bring it on to anybody, because none of these teams, the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools, are playing with any decent consistency at all.
Well, and the thing is, with Leicester's, it's an unchanged side as well. They're just picking, as you say, Peter, every week, just picking it off. If there's a little injury to somebody, they bring one in. That's it, they don't change much.
Can I tell you, Macca, an absolute sitter there for Thistle. The ball's played across the face of goal. Sean Welsh, well, I'll tell you, do you know what it reminds me of? I'm just looking at it there. Sean, he should have put the ball back in the back of the net from Welsh there, and it looks as if it reminds me of Gaza in that game for England in Euro 96, when he just stretches Ruffy inches away from putting them into the final of Euro 96. That game against Germany, do you remember that moment?
No.
I built it up. I painted a brilliant picture there.
But no, you have to, as a guy, you have to make a bit of commitment when you're in there. You know, the ball flashes across. You've got to be that wee bit sharper than anybody else.
Don't dig me out now, Rocky. Just if you don't know anything about it, don't bother commenting on it. I'll tell you what I remember, by the way, Joe, and I always frown when I see it. Teams that wear grey strips. England had a grey strip that day. It's not good for you. Manchester United, remember they were hammered by Southampton.
That's right. Yeah.
So talking about Man United, we're going to talk about what's happening down there.
Well, listen. When you get this seat here, that's when we'll talk about it. when the Saturday football show is hosted by Frank McAvenny, which I have to say is the day before Armageddon. Then we'll talk about it. But you're right, Macca. Give us the thoughts. Man United. Jose Mourinho, apparently the suggestion from a number of the papers down south is that talks have started. Talks
have started, and I think it'll be a great move. There is no doubt he's one of the best coaches in the world. He's by far he's up there, and because Man City is bringing in Pep Guardiola, they've got to do something, because the Man United fans are not happy with the way the man in charge at the moment's doing anything at all. Some players call him the dictator, because he doesn't even use names, you know, for the players. He says number 10 go this way and number 8, and he's just not a good manager for what I hear to play for.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm hearing. But Mourinho puts his arm around players. He'll certainly give them a kick when they need it, but he also put his arms around them, and I think that's what you need sometimes.
What do you make of that point that Frank's just said there?
I don't know about Van Gaal's management skills, but at the same time, you know, I think since Alex Ferguson's left, it's been a hard act to follow for any manager to win there. And it seems to be the case. But I think Mourinho, probably the first time round before David Moyes got it, and before Mourinho went back to Chelsea, had a great opportunity to go to Man United. I think that would have been a better club.
Would you have wanted to follow through?
No, I wouldn't have. Yeah, I know, but I think he would have been the man at the time because I don't think going back to Chelsea. Mourinho at that time, I don't think it was good for Mourinho to go back to Chelsea.
But would you have followed? Did you want to? It was a non-starter, I think, to follow Sir Alex because of what he'd done. No. Whoever went in there was not going to match up.
No, I don't agree with you. I think David Moyes would have been able to steady the ship had he been backed by the chief executive or the executive vice chairman to give him his proper title, Ed Woodward at the time. I think there was a real sense that David Moyes didn't get the backing. I think you had an inexperienced man in there, in the chief executive or executive vice chairman, Ruffy, who basically, I think, slow on deals, didn't give him the proper backing. And if you're looking at the comparison and the results to Van Gaal to David Moyes, whether the Dutch accent seems to court favour with the Glazers or not, if David Moyes had £250 million to spend, I think there would have been a different outcome for Manchester United.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree on that, and it just shows you, when you've got somebody like Van Gaal who has got a bit of what's the word, sort of a kudos in the game. He's been at big clubs, he's won trophies that are bigger than Davy Moyes. Unfortunately for Davy, he'd went in there with not the same name as he has, and he probably, if it had been him, he'd have probably been given more time, but that's what happens when you go in there.
Do you think Mourinho would be a good man to take over with Pep
Guardiola? I was disappointed in Mourinho that time when he went to Chelsea there. I thought he went in there with a sort of a lacklustre, I can't be sacked, I've done it all, sort of, I'm in a comfort zone, I know he won the league, but the next year, but next year he got a bit, next year I think he was untouchable. The interviews he was having was getting
a bit. Off his point of view there, he did it in there, and his slippers were firmly under the bed there, but it's a case where I think going back to a club as a manager, I don't think it always works out, and I think that kind of turned. He had different players, but he also spent big as well. So will he get that sort of money when he goes to Man United?
It all went wrong with the doctor, with the physio. That was it. It all went wrong. Then that was when it started. But listen, we all make mistakes, and he's made a mistake there. He's made a mistake, and it's simple as that. It's done. But I think if he goes to Man United, will it be a good fit? I think it'll be like love, honestly. I think it'll be, because it's a massive club, he's a massive coach, and with the other fella going to Man City, I think there's no one else can go in there and stand up to Guardiola.
Okay, Mitrovic has scored for Newcastle United. They're a goal up in West Brom. I can tell you 4-0 Stranraer 1 is the latest score. This is a Saturday afternoon. We always like to interact with people at Peter and Ruffy and also facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Real chance for Motherwell there. They were on the counter-attack. Chris Cadden, youngster, just bursting forward. I'm just looking at it there. And he's just tried to play a nice little 1-2 with Scott McDonald. Didn't actually time it to perfection. It was a good chance there to try and open up Inverness, but it didn't come to anything. So it's still 0-0. Lots of text. Thanks very much to the text, for the emails, for the, of course, messages on Twitter as well. And I'm going to read out some of your messages on Facebook too. And just a nice little message here from John Hillcoat. He says he loves the show. Joe just thinks it's absolutely magnificent. Usually goes out to games, but watches it. Watched the show today, and would love to be a part of it. But there's no way I'm dropping you for Hilly. It's as simple as that, Joe. He's a good lad, but it's just you're there, you're in the chair, and I'm trying to pick a team regularly so people don't second guess it, Ruffy. They know that we're being consistent.
He'll be wanting to be part. You would like Hilly on here, wouldn't you? The goalkeepers union.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I took Hilly.
You become Ruffy.
I took Hilly to Glenafton for a Scottish Cup game, and he did particularly well. Came in at the last moment, helped us out, and the goalie.
Yeah. Did well.
Yes, he did very well. I think he went to penalty kicks, and I think he saved 3 of them.
Well, I'll tell you, if that doesn't, I have to say, if that doesn't get you on the show, Joe, nothing gets you on it. But to be fair, thankfully, Ruffy doesn't decide. So Hilly can sit in his couch, Joe. You're there. It's as simple as that. You're not moving. I'm sticking with you, Joe, until Gordon decides where he wants to work.
There's a replay around the corner.
Go on.
Kilmarnock Rangers.
Oh, aye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Oh, we wanted to do the replays.
Stats were out. I seen them.
Well, if he wants to go to a smaller channel, so
yes.
Joe Miller, Frank McAvenny, and Alan Ruff here with us. And of course, lots of people tweeting in. I'll tell you even better than that. We haven't had a goal just yet, but I might as well tell you, lads, a lot of people would look at you three guys and think, what a great night out it would be to maybe just... You especially, maybe not Joe and Ruffy, you, a great night out, but I have to say, last night I was in the company of greatness.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I was shaking hands with Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Oh, yes.
Are you happy with that, Macca?
Brilliant. I seen it on Facebook or Twitter. You put it on, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I thought it was a mock.
49 wins, undefeated. I mean, it's absolutely sensational. He was in Glasgow and obviously chatting to people. And I ran into a few. Hugh McDonald was there. Billy Sloan, do you remember Billy?
Yeah, Billy Sloan.
They were there. Billy loves his boxing, and got a chance to chat to Floyd Mayweather. It was fantastic. I love boxing.
Was he asking for me?
No. But you certainly looked like a few of the opponents he'd finished with.
Was he tall in real life? How tall was he?
He was just a little smaller than Joe.
Could Joe take him, do you think?
Joe, to be perfectly honest with you, and I'm kidding you not, I mean, Macca, you know this better than most. I can tell you, it's a goal for Motherwell. Inverness. They were wearing Motherwell strips at the time. It's a known goal, that's why. Inverness have scored, and it looks as if Steve McManus is holding his head in his hands like that. Tremarco's ball into the box, and there, as you can see, Ruffy, it's just McManus getting that touch, put it into his own goal. Wrong touch in the foot there, puts it into his own goal.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you put a ball like pace. Get pace behind it, there's forwards coming in, there's defenders have got to make decisions, and unfortunately for Stephen, he stuck his leg out and the goalkeeper just couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, just one little point on that, and I think you guys will know this better than anybody. I was thinking about Floyd Mayweather Jr. He was boasting about obviously all the fantastic fights, the Gatti fight, the Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Ortiz, all these wins and all these great fights, and I thought to myself, that's great, but 2:30, looking for a taxi, Sucky Hall Street. Let's see how many times you stay undefeated in the middle of Glasgow, looking for a pizza, and people are taking you out. There you are, Joe. You're not holding your championship belt for long at that time, are you?
You're not jumping up here until you stand in the queue at the taxi rank.
Still, he's only got 140 million, but is he happy?
Right?
That's the question I'm asking you. Listen, I'm looking at the scoreline coming in. If anything, the Ayr Peterhead game is interesting, Ruffy, because Peterhead, Jim McAnally's side, have gone ahead again. They're 2-1 in front.
Yeah, they're on a bit of momentum now. They've got a few wins behind them. Unfortunately for Ayr, they went on a fantastic run as well and then dipped over 2 or 3 games. But I think Ian McCall will be quite happy there. I think Dunfermline are going to just draw away from everybody else. So as long as they can hang on to that playoff position, that's what they'll be looking for.
Yeah, would you share that view? They're second at the moment. They're only 7 points behind Dunfermline, to be honest with you. But Peterhead's win could allow Jim McAnally's side to leapfrog them into second. What do you think, Macca?
Yeah, well, he's another one that has had a dip. They had an awful spell there. They couldn't get goals and they weren't getting the points. They were playing decent football. I think it was when you bet them 1 week. And it went right downhill for there. You bet them in the treble.
I think they got hammered that week. just my luck.
That was it. You bet them and they've no kicked. But they seem to be on their way back. That's a different class. If they get a win today, it'll be steady shipping. Put them on again, get that run. And we all know it's about confidence, momentum. You can call it what you want, and you go into a park and if you feel confident, you'll go and you enjoy your football and you'll score goals. So if they get a win.
Macca, 3-0 now to Everton. Aaron Lennon has scored. So it's not often, I don't think, I can't recall us talking on this show, Joe, about any team going to Stoke City and giving them a real doing there.
I think this will be Stoke City's 5th defeat in a row.
They get battered against Man United.
I know they've not done well over the past few weeks. A huge slump in form.
Did I not read in the newspapers that the Everton fans aren't too happy with the manager? He's come under some.
Well, I think that boils down to you cannot, and I think we've got to be blunt about it, Joe. You cannot go to a Jason Derulo concert and start giving it all this. You know, that doesn't do any credibility whatsoever.
Great. I thought he sat there instead of getting embarrassed. He says, "I've got better moves than that."
I mean, I don't know if you've seen this. It's absolutely vintage from him because basically somebody has filmed him, and Jason Derulo. He's a great artist, and there is Roberto giving it all this, and by the way, I'm not talking about just a couple of them. He's gone through the full repertoire, Joe. Some of the stuff that you used to do in Panama Jacks, to be honest with you.
You used to practice in front of the mirror, didn't you? But especially with comments he's made as well. There's been a few Everton fans giving him a bit of grief for that. Well, listen, he's answered his critics today with a great result against Stoke City.
What about this, by the way? Well, Linlithgow Rose, Ruffy, have just equalised against Ross County. What do you make of that?
That's fantastic for Linlithgow Rose. It's, I'm sure Jim McIntyre and Mead Donsdale will not be happy with that. He's given Ross County have given a few guys a chance to shine, but certainly that half-time coming up there, I'm sure I'd want to like to be in that dressing room at half-time.
Yeah, I mean, that is a real bonus. And I tell you, Inverness's goal has been attributed to Story. One of those ones when the ball is thrown into the box, looks as if it's an own goal, but the player next to him, who's nearest to him, just actually raises his hand and runs away. You know all about that, Macca, claiming goals that really are not yours.
You've got to. It's just one name as a striker. If you were closest to it and somebody got a touch, no, I never got a touch. You can't do it today's game because there's that many cameras, there's that many angles now. But I used to get away with it when I played.
Yeah. What about Joe Ledley? Julian Lescott. I thought about Joe Ledley, but it was Julian Lescott the way it was came up. It's
just a delay.
It's absolutely, it's my brain. Julian Lescott scoring the goal for Aston Villa, taking the lead against Norwich City.
Yeah, I worry about Norwich. They had a couple of wee wins there, but I still think they'll get dragged into that relegation. They're not winning games consistently enough, but the only thing they've got in their favour is the teams underneath them aren't winning consistently either, so if they can take points off of them, they might just scrape it, but I just don't think they've got the same resources as everybody else.
Who do you think's going to get down now?
I said at the beginning, Sunderland, Norwich,
Aston Villa's gone.
Aston Villa,
that was a 3.
Did you go for Aston Villa as well?
That was a 3,
that's funny you going for Aston Villa. They're in a similar predicament to Dundee United, to be honest with you, Johnny thinks they're going to get out of it. Listen, let's go to Fir Park, half-time there. We'll get the latest from Craig Turnbull.
Yeah, half-time here at Fir Park. It's Motherwell 0, Inverness 1. There's not been much between the sides, but it's the Highlanders who have the lead here, and it wouldn't be either between Storey or McManus who got the last touch. I thought it was McManus, but it was credited to Storey. To be honest, before that, the match was being starved of goal-mouth action. It's been a hard-fought game in the middle of the park, and certainly you didn't really see the goal coming. It was going to have to be a moment of brilliance or an error, and for the Inverness, it was the great play from Cal Tremarco to take advantage of Law, who hesitated, and Tremarco drove to the byline, flashed the ball across the face of goal. Storey put McManus under pressure, and it was debatable who got the last touch, and McManus's reaction certainly suggested that it might have been him, but Storey, I'm sure, won't be too bothered about that. At half time, it's Motherwell 0, Inverness 1.
So there you have it. Inverness with the all-important goal, and the last thing I think John Hughes wants to do is go out of the cup. It's a great chance for Inverness to try and get back to the final. It would be, I mean, dreamland. I can't think of any side other than maybe an Aberdeen, Joe, that was capable of retaining the cup out with Celtic and Rangers.
Oh, it's a very difficult thing to do. I mean, it's, you know, but the cup competitions, it's, I think the way the teams are playing, there's no consistency with the bigger clubs either. So, you know, they'll all feel as if they've got a chance of winning it. But you know, in the few clubs, there's Aberdeen was out of both cups a few weeks ago. So you're not getting any consistency, and they did well. They were a good cup side.
Yeah.
But you know, they'll feel, you know, if they don't get through today.
Yeah, okay.
They keep chopping and changing though, and as I said before, they keep chopping and changing the teams. You know, the cup teams, they bring people in. They say rotation, but when I get rotated, that means you get dropped.
Yes.
You know, that was there was none of this.
When you get rotated, you're on a dance floor.
Joe, you've got line of the day there. That's exactly it. That's what Macca thought rotation was all about. Let's go to Tannadice. Derek Clark is there for his half time.
Yeah, half-time here at Tannadice. It's goalless between Dundee United and Partick in what's been a fiercely contested first 45, but both sides lacking any real quality in the final third. United have come close on a couple of occasions. John Rankin had a close-range effort saved by the feet of Thomas Cherney, while Simon Murray also forced a good save out the Thistle keeper with an angle shot after linking up with Billy Mackay. Partick have struggled really to test the United backline, although Sean Welsh really should have put them ahead when he failed to connect from a Callum Booth cross that was whipped across the face of goal. So all to play for. The team goes in at the break. It's United 0, Partick 0.
So, still waiting on that all-decisive goal there. Annan 0, Morton 2. Robbie would suggest that Jim Duffy's men could be thinking about the 6th round.
Yeah, I think Jim would have known that was going to be a difficult tie down there, but certainly to go 2-0 up just before half-time, you would like to think that they would see that one out.
Yep, the cup at the moment, it looks as if of all the half-time scores, Dumbarton 0, Dundee 0. We just heard from Dundee United and Partick Thistle from Derek Clark, and of course Craig Turnbull's told us about Inverness's goal. McManus, OG, possibly Story trying to claim it. It looks as if it will need a panel to decide on that. Jamie Record is not a happy man for Ross County because he scored an OG for Linlithgow Rose. Can the junior side cause a real problem? There's so many questions and they're still to be answered. Join us on the football show with these guys after the break.
story of life.
Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, Joe Miller and Frank McAvenny here with me this afternoon to take you through all the goals as they hit the back of the net, keeping you right up to date with events north of the border and south of the border. Earlier today it was Rangers 0, Kilmarnock 0. So there's a replay there for the caretaker boss Lee McCulloch. There's the latest on the other matches. Annan Athletic 0, Morton 2, Dumbarton 0, Dundee 0, Dundee United 0, Partick Thistle 0, Motherwell 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, and Ross County 1, Linlithgow Rose 1. That's how it looks in the Scottish Cup. Is there going to be a shock on the cards? Could the juniors be celebrating at the end of this? You never know which way it's going to go. Anything that's screaming out at you there, Ruffy?
Lithgow Rose score screaming out at me after Ross County last week. An incredible performance last week against Celtic, and going into that game, you know, you would have thought, you know, 3 or 4-0 would have been a comfortable result, but at 1 each, obviously it was an own goal, but certainly it just put them on the back foot until they get that second goal.
Well, I'll tell you the scoreline that's screaming out now. It's in the Premiership because of McDermott Park. It's St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 2, and in the Championship, St Mirren 1, Queen of the South 0. Frank McAvenny, the Dons have got the bit between their teeth.
Well, we thought that, we said that at the beginning. Joe was recommended that we're going to get a good result up there, and after last Wednesday, they've got to. You know, sometimes you can get a good result like that and go and you don't follow it up, and little games like this, going to Perth and slipping up, but they've not done that today, and I don't think they will. They'll not. I think they could maybe go on and extend the lead, because Derek McInnes will not allow his team to slip up in this one, I wouldn't think.
Okay, Stevie Mallon curled a great free kick in for St Mirren. They lead Queen of the South by a goal to 0. Let's look at League One and the half-time scores there. Aireonians 1, Cowdenbeath 0. Ayr United 1, Peterhead 2. That's at the top of the table in League One, and certainly I think there's a bit to go in that one. Could be a few twists and turns. Forfar Athletic 0, Stranraer 1, and Stenhousemuir 0, Dunfermline 1. And in League 2 for us today are Broth 0, Stirling Albion 0, Berwick Rangers 1, East Stirling 1, Montrose 0, East Fife 1, and Queen's Park 0, Elgin City 0. Hang on to your hats for this one. Here's the Barclays Premier League. Manchester City 1, Leicester City 3. That's a result. Aston Villa 1, Norwich 0, Liverpool 0, Sunderland 0, Newcastle 1, West Brom 0. What an amazing scoreline there. Stoke City 0, Everton 3, Swansea 1, Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 0, Watford 0, and Southampton 0, West Ham 0. It is absolutely incredible.
They're playing tonight.
Yeah, that's why it's 0-0.
Yeah.
It's an evening kick-off there, but we thought we'd just preempt the fact to you that although it's a 5:30 kick-off, it's still 0-0 at the moment. We'll put 5:30 in the graphic shortly. So, on that point, we'll get there, Joe, honestly. It's still technically 0-0. Nobody's kicked off. Give me peace. Okay. Join us after the break when there won't be 0-0s in other games that we'll be talking about, and we'll talk about something else very special to one of these guys' hearts. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. I couldn't think of a better afternoon to just sit back, enjoy the chat, and we'll keep you up to date over the 4 hours with all the goals as they hit the back of the net. No shortage of opinion, and of course a wee bit of banter as well. And one of the things that worried me before the break, Maka, was the fact that you and I talked about people who actually, when you chap their door, they will come out for a game of football. You know people like that. I'm in that camp. Yeah. You are, Maka. Yeah. And we always like to still play five-a-sides together. So if somebody's chaps your door, you want to come out and play, you go out and you play football.
Yes, of course.
Joe, on the other hand, won't travel the length of his nose nowadays for a game of football, and I think that's a disaster.
Well, I like to, it's like boxing, I like to come up against guys the same weight. You're out my league.
Absolutely. I understand where you're coming from, Joe. This is it's a technical game. There's a lot of touch involved.
Yeah.
Ruffy. I mean, there's guys that I know would go anywhere for a game of football. Anywhere. I mean, I travel miles just to get somebody who'll select me.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who don't. I mean, at a level they've played at, they don't really want to come down.
Yeah,
a couple of levels. So,
which is funny you should say that, because I kid you not, and I'm not making this up, and you know the truth on this, but many moons ago, when I worked at Radio 4, Sandy Jardine and myself used to do the commentary on Hearts matches, Joe. And he was a brilliant lad. He had a great dry sense of humour, Sandy. And I phoned him up one day and I said, look, the Radio 4 team are playing against this other team who challenged us to a match. Is there any chance that you would come and play for the Radio 4 All Stars, as they were called? Would you come and play in this 11-a-side match? And he said, oh, I can't come and play in the game, Peter. And I said, oh. I says, how not? He says, because you're rubbish. And I said to him, and I started laughing. I went, no, it's about 2:30 on the Sunday. Can you make it? And he went, no, I want you to have a wee think about this. He said, I've played in the European Cup Women's Cup final, he says, with players at the absolute top level, and you want me to play with you and your mates. It's not happening. And I thought to myself, and he couldn't stop laughing. And the more I thought about it, I thought, wow, how many levels would he have to drop to play at our level, Ruffy? You know, Sandy Jardine at 37 won Player of the Year in Scotland for Hearts.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when you get to our age, you've got to watch which teams you associate yourself with. You're asked to play in a lot of exhibition games. You know, the people who have retired for the game, you get asked to go along and play, and sometimes you can be caught out. I mean, I get asked to play in the Scottish MSP's team against the English MSP's down, and it was in West Ham's Park. Oh, yeah. And I went down there, and obviously I didn't know any of the guys, and after 10 minutes I just said, oh my God. I think we're going to beat 10-0.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a poor. It was a poor. If it hadn't for me, it'd been 20.
It's a very, very good point. Yeah. But anyway, I thought it was one of those things that just came back to me. Sandy Jardine at his absolute best. His patter was good stuff. This afternoon, at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, give us your thoughts on some of the events over the course of the week and the scores today. At Peter and Ruffy, and also facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Swansea won, Crystal Palace won. Scott Dan with the equaliser in the Barclays Premier League. I think we're all talking about, biggest shocks in, winning a title, and Leicester City are certainly grabbing the headlines. I don't think you'll be able to. Any newspaper tomorrow they'll all have Leicester City on the back pages, Frank, and rightly so.
Well, of course, everyone, we keep talking about it, everyone's waiting them dropping points and waiting them coming unstuck, and it's just not happening. They're just running over the top of everyone. There's so much pace. Vardy, Mahrez and the Japanese boy up front.
There was a couple of weeks ago that you thought that, this is it, the bubbles burst. I know. They've just kicked on.
They've just come back, and it's great to watch.
Listen, there's a message that's been posted on Peter and Ruffy on Facebook from Mark McGroarty, who says, who would you like to see as the next Celtic manager? Now, obviously, I think sometimes it can be disrespectful if you've got a manager in place. But I'll not ask that question. What I will do is I'll twist it around a wee bit to make it palatable, Macca. Do you think Celtic are looking and talking to other people right now in the background?
I would be very surprised because I don't think Peter's going to.
What would you be very surprised about if they weren't?
Well, I think you've got to talk to. I mean, Ronnie's not doing it, and you want to change. It happens with players, you know.
So he is talking to someone.
I think so because it happens to players. Somebody will just ask you a question. Where'd you go? And that's these kind of things happen. So I don't know. It's very disrespectful where a manager been in, but you know, Ronnie can't have that long. You know, all of a sudden he was going to, when he came out of the Champions League, he was going to win the Europa Cup. He said, we'll win the now, and I'm thinking, don't say that, but it didn't win a game. And then it was the league, we won the treble. Why he keeps opening and shouting for it?
I think to be fair to him, last season...
It's good to have that kind of confidence.
Yeah, but last season I think the point that he said was it wasn't the fact they were going to win the Europa League. He says we could go all the way in this tournament. And in 2 consecutive seasons, Joe, inept is an understatement.
Yeah, it is, but just going back to your question though, you know, I think the team in the modern day, a manager's tenure is only a few years, and I think a club are always looking out for somebody that's doing well, or be keeping an eye on somebody that's doing well.
Yeah.
You could look at...
There's 2 come to mind with me.
Yeah.
And that's Moyes and Stubbs.
Moyes and Stubbs, I mean...
Well, can I just say... I'm giving you an insight, Macca. No chance.
Have you spoke to him?
I'm telling you, no chance.
Okay. I just thought it'd be a great match-up because he needs to get his back in the game.
Yeah.
He needs to get back in the game, go up to Celtic a couple of years, get his name good again.
No, I can't see. I can see Stubbs. I can see Michael O'Neill.
Michael O'Neill's a good shout.
Over and above that, I'm starting to say, you know, that the board, and I'm only telling you from a board's perspective on how they look at things. They'll look at things and say that top tier hasn't been full in many a season, and they'll probably look and say maybe Henrik Larsson could put bums in seats.
Yeah, you do, but you've got to change everything as well. You've got to change, you know, you want to build a team. I think the fans want to see a team getting built and they want to keep a hold of their good players. Celtic over the past few years...
There's not going to get players at the moment.
But they've been selling them, Frank. They've been making fortunes all because...
But this is the first time they're not going to be able to sell anyone in that team.
Yeah, but going back to we were speaking about Gordon Strachan, where he had his qualifying, Lenny had the team qualifying for the Champions League. You had good players in the team, but they seem to have moved on, and they moved on for money that the club couldn't knock back. But at the same time,
I understand
think
the remit of the club,
want to see, that's the remit of the club, but it's what the fans want. Now, they've got to accept the criticism for the fans because they're the paying customer, and they want to see good footballers on the park.
See, I understand that, Peter, the remit, they've got to sell players, and I understand all that, but you've got to replace them with boys. In a couple of years, you're going to sell on again. And the boys that they're bringing in are not good enough. There's none of this team, I think, can get sold next year.
Well, okay, let me just take the selling of the players out of the equation here, Ruffy, and we talk about it continually, which is levels, and we all know that the level of Scottish football has dipped quite dramatically, and we're trying to find a level where we can get some positivity. You'll never be able to come anywhere near what's happening in the Barclays Premier League in England, Ruffy. But what I would say is, forget about the sell-on, which is clearly a blueprint that Celtic have decided and their board have decided. The problem here, I think, is just basic football from a manager who can't get the best out of the players. You can't say that all those players are not good. I think a better manager would get more out of them.
Yeah, that could be thrown out there. I do think his inexperience is going against him, and I don't give him the blame 100%. I give everybody the board, because the board have actually sat down and said, look, this is where we are. There's no guarantee we're going to get 20 million for the Champions League. We need to think of another way to restructure the club. And what we're going to do is we're going to buy young players. We're going to drop our wage budget. We're not going to be buying £4 million players. Let's bring in a manager who's going to buy into that theory, because a lot of big managers would not have bought into that theory. So they've identified him as that kind of manager, and they've brought him in, And I have to say, he has no experience whatsoever at a high level of Champions League football, and that's where the fans have judged him, and that's where he's failed miserably. I mean, it's okay him saying, "Oh, we will win the league." We win the league every year.
Yeah.
You know, that's a given. You know, you have been winning the league every year. You know, with the resources that he has there. So I just think that he has bought into the way the board are thinking. He's bought into the package of what he's been. When you sit around the table at the beginning of the season, right, Ronnie, this is what we're going to do. We're going to let you identify young Scottish players. If it's young Scottish players, let's pick the best ones, and let's pick the best players. That isn't a guarantee that he's going to make them £10 million players.
Yeah, so Scotland they brought in, they're not playing them.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not the only one. I do think I'm amazed that they haven't managed to build a team around the likes of Scott Allan. My point to you is this. It's St Johnstone 1, Aberdeen 2, let me tell you, so there's maybe a fight back on here. The point is this, as a manager, he's not been able to organise that side or get the best out of them. All those players, Joe, are not bad players.
No, they're not bad players, and you're right, and Ruffy's right as well.
Peter, these players that he's brought in aren't European players.
No, they're good for Scotland.
I can't think of one, you know, and we keep talking about Lee Griffiths, and quite rightly so, the amount of goals that he's scored. He's a top player. He's not a European striker.
No.
And he's Celtic's best player, as we're sitting here just now.
I can tell you that David Wotherspoon got the goal to make it St Johnstone 1, Aberdeen 2. So suddenly game on there. There could be a wee twist. You know, this is the great thing about this programme. In the first half of the programme, we're giving it, this is the Dons have got the bit between their teeth. That, you know, an equaliser, and suddenly they've let it all slip. Macca.
They're useless.
I mean, in a pub having a pint of beer, I think that's the chat, but I didn't expect it on the Saturday show. No, you're absolutely, that's the way the football works.
It's one of them, it's one of them, they get confident, but Terry McInnes, this is when managers don't it. Managers earn their money when a team's come back, and they'll hope to go and get the third goal, and if they get the third goal, I think that'll kill them off, that'll kill St Johnstone off.
Joe?
I think I did fancy Aberdeen before. I think they'll probably get another goal.
I think so.
You know, it might have been a breakaway. We don't know how the game's going. I think maybe Aberdeen's had all the possession and just one slip up. But I do think Aberdeen will go on to win.
Ross County have scored 2-1 up now, Ruffy, on one of your favourite junior teams. So that's it's a tall order for them.
Yeah, but I said at the beginning of the programme that a credible scoreline would be good for them and for junior football, and 2-1 as it stands against a team who beat Celtic last week quite convincingly. If they were to go away even at 3-1, you know, they would just say to themselves, well, that's been a good day out.
Yeah, it's a bit, along with the Roses, Ross County's their resources. I think it's good for them to build on that resource and make sure that they're going to try and get to a cup final again. Their confidence is high. They'll show that they're a good cup side. What are you laughing at?
Like some group bite.
I'm laughing at Ruffy because just one little technical glitch after another. Ruffy, see today, I am at the end of this programme. I am going to get into a darkened room and not speak to anybody.
Take a big drink.
Got to have a drink today. I mean, you know me, Ruffy. I never usually. Once in a blue moon I'll have a glass of wine, but Ruffy, I think I'm going to uncork one tonight because this has been a really stressful day.
Let's not wait the 2 hours.
Honestly, Gordon Smith has done something to us today because every now and then there's just been the odd wee technical glitch, and just as I was chatting to you, Ruffy, I thought to myself, I'm almost certain that image behind Ruffy has gone off, and there. Oh, there's another one as well.
Off the time,
it's one of the. Let's have a competition online. Spot the mistake. We forgot to tell everybody that this is a competition we're running today.
Yeah, it is.
To actually identify any mistakes that you see.
Anyway, yeah, absolutely, and there's it's not just one or two, there's a good 12 that you'll be able to spot as the programme continues, but nevertheless, that's what it's all about. Listen, tell us your thoughts, Ruffy, now. I mean, think Ross County should be able to go on from that.
Yeah, you would like to think they'd end up 4-1, but I hope that's not the case, because I think Linlithgow have done themselves credit getting up there, and if they were to come away as it stands, it'd be great. I mean, they've still got their own Scottish Cup to go for, so the players will be up and encouraged from being able to go up there and getting that kind of result.
Why 4-1?
Well, you would think at 2-1 just now. Another 30 minutes to go. You would think 4-1 would be, from Ross County's point of view, would be the result we'd be looking for.
I don't know if you've noticed, Ruffy, but a couple of wee things. I've got one of these computers down here, and I just quickly, this is like the Star Trek Enterprise, and I just quickly go like that, Joe, and then all of a sudden everything's back to normal. I don't know if you remember that, Ruffy, but this is the God's honest truth. I'm not lying to you, Joe. In another life, we were working. I kid you not, we were working on Radio Clyde Super Scoreboard, and Joe was sitting in the seat, and clearly in the studio they hadn't actually spent any money on new seats, and Joe was making his point, and alongside us that day was Hugh Keevans, an esteemed journalist, a respected journalist, and as Joe made his point, the chair collapsed, right? So as the chair collapsed, I couldn't stop laughing, because all you could see was wee Joe's bobbly head just going up and down, and I couldn't stop laughing. And then all of a sudden, Ruffy, the great thing about Hugh, he cared not a jot for his teammates. He kept making the point, and I couldn't stop laughing. But every time I see Joe now, I make sure that the chair is in working order. Listen, let's look at it now and say to ourselves, Brian Graham scored the second one for Ross County, and they've added a third, Ruffy, so they're well on their way to your 4-1 scoreline.
Yeah, and I would hope it doesn't get any more than 4, because that would just be a bit of a setback. But no, I'm sure everybody associated with Linlithgow will be enjoying that day out and possibly the journey back.
Who have you tipped, Ruffy, to win the Scottish Cup?
Wow.
Nobody.
You put that one upon me there.
It's a good one, isn't it?
It's a good one. I don't think there's anybody playing consistently well. No, I'm just saying that I would like to think that it would be a team that hasn't won it before. We spoke about that earlier as well. And I think it's good when you get other teams in there, given a good run. I always think it's good for a smaller club to get a run right to a final, so you're going to want a team now, aren't you? Yeah.
Any chance you could stop padding? Any chance you could stop wasting the programme, Ruffy, and just give us the
I'm
answer?
just giving myself time to think.
Right. I'll tell you what. Partick Thistle to win the Scottish Cup.
To go.
Yeah, but who do you think, not who you would like, who do you think is going to win it?
Yeah.
That was the question he asked.
That was the question. That's what I like about you now, Mark.
Yeah,
You're getting into
I'll answer well.
Go on.
I think Celtic.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, well, you've got to go.
I've got to say Celtic as well.
You've got to go with the old favourite, I think. Yeah.
You think Celtic will win the Scottish Cup?
Yeah, I think we'll do the double. Yeah.
Go for the double.
Is that right? Okay, I say no.
You say no?
I cannot see it, lads. For the life of me, I can't see it. It's a strange one.
If they don't win the double, I mean, the manager's job's got to be on tenure, but he can't keep the job.
I would like to see a Celtic
They've got to make a
Rangers
change.
What would you like to see, Joe?
A Celtic Rangers final.
No, I don't think we're ready for that either, Joe. I don't think Scottish football.
The semi-final was good a few years
I don't think
this
Scottish football needs a Celtic Rangers Cup final just yet.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Good for the game.
You think so?
It needs a.
If Rangers are starting to play well, and they're not. I don't think they're up to the point.
Okay, I'll tell you who I'm
I'm
going to pick for the. I'll tell you who I'm going to pick to win the Scottish Cup.
I know who you're going to pick.
You know I'm going to say. Hold on, I'll write it down. Hold on, don't say anything, right? I'm going to write it down here, right? Who I think is going to win the Scottish Cup.
I'll tell you.
Hold on.
I think I know as well.
Wait a minute. What I'll do is this, right? I'll write it down here, and then I'll turn it round.
I'll write it down.
You write it down. In fact, everybody write it down in a bit of. No, write it down, and then we'll hold it up to the camera, right? Okay, Joe, could you write it down on the back? Have you got a pen, Joe?
You get the same.
Yeah. Joe clearly doesn't take any notes, so never brought a pen with him. But I'm going to write down the team that I think is going to win the cup. Okay, everybody, if they want to turn round now on the wide shots, here we go. Hearts. What have you got? Hearts. Joe's got Hibs. So there you have it. Hearts.
Hibs will do the double.
I think Hibs will beat Hearts tomorrow. So Hearts will.
Yeah.
Jenk will do the double, do you? So I think in the Scottish Cup, they get a good chance.
Hey, Liverpool 1, Sunderland 0. So time's running out. I can tell you, Inverness, very close.
Did I not see
Miles
him?
Story on the right hand side, and then just a great ball in there. And Connor Ripley had to look lively. Good save. That could have been 2-0, and Inverness would have been looking towards the next round. But can I just say to you, yeah, Hearts for me. Ruffy, who?
I would think if Hearts beat Hibs tomorrow, they'll get a great chance.
Yeah, I know that. You really annoy the life out of me, Ruffy. Give me an opinion. I know they've got a great chance.
I'm like the guys. I hope it's a Celtic Rangers final.
Yeah, and that again is not the question. Who do you think is going to win the Scottish Cup?
Celtic.
Joe?
Celtic.
Okay, so 3 Celtics and a
How many
half.
Celtics?
What?
Nothing to do with the fact that we used to play.
I'm about to say.
I think listen, at the end of the day, they're the best. They are when they play. If they play at the standards, better standard what they're playing now. But
Yes.
they are the best team in Scotland. So
Yeah,
And as
I
I
wish you could hear that line back. If they could play at a better standard than they're playing now, they're the best team.
they are
forget
players.
that I
You've just said that the manager's not got them playing.
No, as
You've
we.
said it earlier, they're not
Yeah.
playing to the best of their capabilities.
Yes.
But if they do, they're the best team in Scotland.
Yeah, and they've got the best
they'll get a
manager.
bit- What?
Brilliant the way you reacted there, Martin. That says it all. Listen, nobody knows right now whether Celtic are the best team in Scotland. This league isn't over.
No, it's not.
This league isn't over. This is suddenly, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Ruffy. I'm looking at the scores coming in. Morton are going to be looking into the next round of the Cup. They're 3-0 up at Annan, and Stephen McCluskey has scored the goal there. So they are looking up. But I don't know if you're aware of this, Ruffy, and we maybe should pin it down this week. But you and me last week, and we might as well mention this, we had, I can tell you, it's an equaliser. Motherwell 1, Inverness 1, and Stevie Hamill's corner just whipped in there. Look at that on Steve McManus has bulleted the header from the set piece. Ruffy, that's 1-1. McManus has made amends at the right end.
Yep, and he certainly he hasn't scored that many goals this year, but certainly
No.
set pieces, corner kicks, big man. If he's up there, he times his run properly. Yeah, and it hits the back of the net.
He's not scored that many goals, period, in it, big Steve. But he's a tall lad and he gets in, he can cause a problem, so yeah, well done, big man.
Yep, he scored the goal. Ruffy, this week we were out with a couple of guys from Edinburgh. We had a lovely night at a restaurant. Hearts and Hibs fans, Jim and Ferry, who were out on a night out with us, and I think it was really good. It was really good having a chat with them, getting a wee insight into the banter between Hibs and Hearts fans.
Yeah, and it's good that the both of them, obviously you say Hibs and Hearts, but they had their memories of going back so many years, and you posed have your best ever Hearts team and your best ever Hibs team, and it was funny that the Hibs supporter could pick his best Hibs team, but the Hearts supporter couldn't pick his best 11.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know why, because over the years, the last 20 years, Hearts have had the stronghold on Hibs, but he couldn't define, as quickly as a Hibs player. Oh, no, they were proper. No, they were proper supporters. They were very, very good. At
Two
everything.
good fans, but
They were good.
Not probably support.
I think if you can rhyme off,
It probably Tim Barton.
if you can rhyme off your if you can rhyme off your top 11. Listen, let's not deflect away from this, Ruffy, as we look. Berwick Rangers 2, East Stirlingshire 1. The point is, I was making and linking it. The tenuous link from last week's dinner is this week. We're heading out for is it this week we're going for a dinner with Macca?
I'm up for
think he's organising
No,
it.
I've
this
not
week
organised
okay?
nothing. No, I did
Is
say,
this week okay?
I did say on my Twitter I have to take you guys out for a meal.
Yes.
because I've lost the bet. So.
He lost 9 points.
He
Now,
said-
I don't think Joe was on the show that day.
You weren't on the show.
And then, to be
Can
fair,
I come anyway?
You can come, you can come.
you can clean up. Joe, to be fair, Frank McInerney said that Aberdeen would be trailing minimum 9 points behind Celtic when the game at Pittodrie was going to take place. It just didn't materialise. Ruffy and I knew the score, and in the end it's down to 3 points, and now if it stays the same way now, it'll be level on points. So we're going out for a meal, Ruffy. Let's
We'll go
pick a
for somewhere
right.
nice. You
Let's pick a humdinger.
Did you like
Is
the
this
one?
week
Go on
okay?
Twitter, and the replies that I got for you two is tremendous.
Yes, I'll bet you it was.
Oh, Happy Meals. Take for Happy Meal. Take for
Oh yeah, I'll tell you.
the Chuckle Brothers, these were called.
Yeah, let me tell you, it will be a happy meal when you get the bill. To be perfectly honest with you.
There'll only be 2 people smiling at the end. Tommy is.
That's exactly it.
Right,
I
okay.
cannot
We'll
wait
do
to
that.
see it.
There's no problem. I don't
It's,
mind doing that.
It's the first time you'll have handed over cash since she signed for all those clubs. Anyway, apart from anything else, this afternoon the goals flying in now, and East Stirlingshire have equalised against Berwick Rangers. Goals flying in there. And I can tell you, France have beaten Italy 23-21. Italy were actually 18-17 ahead in that rugby match, but France eventually at the Stade de France scored and got the necessary points to win that one in the rugby. Do you like your rugby, Ruffy?
Yeah, I like the Six Nations.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with Italy. They're up and coming. They've been closing the gap every year, and unfortunately Scotland's got to go there, which will be a difficult one.
Yeah.
But a big Calcutta Cup today.
Oh, there you are. I can see it now, Joe. Your rugby correspondent, Alan Ruff. There you
Oh,
go.
it's a massive.
That's an up and under.
That was fantastic from Ruffy there. And Ruffy next week will be joined by Campbell McCampbellson. Oh, I love that. I do love the rugby.
Next week it'll be Alan Roderick.
Do you remember last season on this programme? Joe, I kid you not, we're commentating on a game and I said, you know, the Ben Richards, or Ben Everton Richards, there's a Ben Richards Everton playing for Hamilton Accies, and I said, you know, triple barrel names, it's just so unusual. You very rarely get a triple barrel name, and Ruffy said, well, mine is Alan Roderick Ruff. And I thought to myself, okay, Roderick takes a bit of doing, you know, because I could only think of the Life of Brian movie. But then he was absolutely hammered out of the park by Gordon Smith. What's Gordon Smith's middle
I
name?
want you to ask me that.
Which is
Yeah.
We'll come to it.
Duffield. That is sensational, isn't it?
And now the whole country knows it.
They knew it last season. It was unbelievable.
brilliant.
Maka, triple
yeah,
barrel
see 'em.
name like that. Fantastic.
So you two just going to stay quiet on that? Are you?
I mean, I've got my middle name.
What?
Don't have a
Nothing
middle
at all?
name. No, I don't have a. Aloysius is my confirmation name, but that's it.
What?
My confirmation.
Okay, let's move on. Our both have scored, thankfully. Our both won Stirling 0. We'll keep you up to date. In fact, we'll probably give you a big refresher on all the latest scores. Here's the Scottish Cup for you to have a look at. We're going to talk about Rangers Kilmarnock. We'll give you the reaction from that game and get the thoughts of the lads to Mark Warburton and Lee McCulloch on that 0-0 at Ibrox. There was more than a few chances, and I think Rangers might feel slightly aggrieved that they weren't able to get over the line into the next round. No doubt about who's going through, as Ruffy would say, in the Annan Athletic Morton game. It's 4-0 to Morton. Dumbarton 0, Dundee 0. Dundee United 0, Partick Thistle 0. Motherwell have just equalised. It looks as if Scott McDonald's been attributed with the goal. A bullet header, but he just sneaked in with a little touch there. Motherwell 1, Inverness 1. And then Ross County 3, Linlithgow Rose 1. So, all going according to plan. If there's going to be a winner in the matches that they can't be separated, Ruffy, who would you bet on?
God, I don't know, Peter, honestly. You've caught me on the hoop there. I was catching most of the scores at Joe's Cooping, and it's not looking too good, Joe, sorry. But, so if you'd like to rephrase that question, I'll answer it.
Absolutely. If we can get a result in, the likes of Dumbarton, Dundee, if we could get that, if we could get a winner in the Motherwell, Inverness, and then St Mirren, then I think Cup and treble could be up. Let's have a look at the Premiership and Championship to see the latest there, because Aberdeen raced into a 2-0 lead before St Johnstone have pegged one back through David Wotherspoon. It's St Johnstone 1, Aberdeen 2, and St Mirren 1, Queen of the South 0. And I have to say, Macca, before we even look at League One, that would be a sensational result for St Mirren, not because it's a shock, just because it really, I think, gives the Saints fans and the manager maybe that feeling of it's on.
Yeah, turn the corner. They've turned. You know, I just get a feeling it's St Mirren's turned the corner, and just they've got to win home games, and you know, and do that. And I just think it's a good feel factor at the club at the moment, and to win the day would be just highlight that, and it's. That's why I took them in the cooking, because I think they're going to get it. You know, I think they'll hold on to that.
Joe, you were right. Aberdeen have scored 3-1 up now. You sensed there was going to be another goal.
Yeah, I did. I think the way Aberdeen played the other night there, you know, they're all at attack. Plus, I like the setup that they've got. You know, try and play 3 up front actually.
Not 2 or 3.
No, not 2, but they actually, you know, they've got players coming into the box, balls into the box all the time. And Rooney and the big boy Church are a threat in the air. So I think they're a good side, and you know, even if you're talking about the points and the amount of games that they've won, this will be 12 games in a row that they've won. So to win any league, you've got to go unbeaten. You know, and then before you know it, it's maybe 20, and that's championship winning form, without a doubt. So I don't think they'll be thinking about it too much, but they'll just gradually.
Oh, Joe, I think they might suddenly. When you're in a one-team city.
Yeah, I know, but it's when they think about it, that's when it all starts going wrong.
I don't think so. They've got to start thinking now. Look, we've just beat them.
Aye.
You know, and as I said earlier, the last 11 games they've had 4 points more than Celtic. So they've got to say, look, we'll just go for this. We can do this. And if you start believing, then you know, that's why I didn't think they'd get a slip up today. St Johnstone played well at home, but I just didn't think Aberdeen would slip up.
Hey, Ruffy, Simon Church scoring again. Again, he could be, as Alec Ray pointed out, it's just one of those crucial signings for them.
Yes, and it's good when a manager obviously goes through his contacts and has identified a player who's got an instant impact. And the boy certainly looked the part the other night there. I mean, Alec was explaining to us that he had him on the radar when he was with Paul Ince. Would it have been at Wolves?
Milton Keynes.
And they had identified him, you know, that he was a championship player. And he's obviously come up, and certainly 2 goals, 2 games, you can't complain about that.
Yeah, just as Linlithgow Rose looked as if they were going to get back into it 3-2, Ross County have scored again, Ruffy. It's now 4-2 in that match.
Yeah, I mean, all credit to Linlithgow. It looks as if they're making a game of it. They're not parting the bus. They're trying to kind of score their second goal, which is good. But no, I'm sure Ross County will have Jim McIntyre will have a lot to say about Linlithgow after this game.
Annan 1, Morton 4. And Billy Mackay has just played a lovely pass there to Scott Fraser, and his left-footed shot just takes a little deflection, takes it away from the goal of Dundee United. Could have been in front in that match at Tannadice, Ruffy. Yeah,
these are the 2 games we're looking at that could go either way. Obviously, the Dundee game and the Dundee United game. 15 minutes to go. It's always a tense time in a Scottish Cup tie. You don't, if you're away from home, you don't want to throw it away. You'll be thinking you're going to get a replay out of it, and it remains to be seen whether these 2 games stay at nothing each. Let's have a look at the scores in the other leagues in Scotland. The lower leagues, there's League 1, Airdrieonians 1, Cowdenbeath 0, Ayr United 1, Peterhead 2, Forfar Athletic 1, Stranraer 1, and Stenhousemuir 0, Dunfermline 2. What about League 2? We'll have a quick look at that now just to see how it all looks. And there it is there. Arbroath 1, Stirling 1, Berwick Rangers 2, East Stirling 2, Montrose 1, East Fife 2, and Queen's Park 0, Elgin City 0. And it looks as if Guy Demel has had to be replaced. So the substitution there enforced on Dundee United, but they almost took the lead there, but it's still 0-0. And we'll also keep you up to date with the Barclays Premier League just shortly. And as we approach full time, let's have a look at it now. Why not? Can we? Yes, we can. Manchester City 1, Leicester City 3.
Aston Villa 2, Norwich City 0, Liverpool 2, Sunderland 0. I think Adam Lallana's just scored to make it 2-0. Newcastle 1, West Brom 0, Stoke City 0, Everton 3, Swansea 1, Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 1, Watford 0. And there's the evening kick-off. Southampton against West Ham at 5:30, so it's still 0-0. So, there you have it. There you have it. You've got it all now. We're trying to be right on the ball here, and there's no ball on the park as yet there in that match. So, now, tomorrow's games as well we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that Edinburgh derby looming ever closer. We'll get the full-time reports, and we will talk about the Edinburgh derby and East Kilbride as well, and how those boys must be feeling. It's Stenhousemuir 0, Dunfermline 3. Can anyone stop Dunfermline, Ruffy, in that division?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think when they're winning away from home that convincingly, obviously the teams behind them are all cutting each other up, and I would think that the experience they've got, the full-time football, that they'll draw away there.
Okay, Scott Rumsby's been sent off for Stranraer, red card. Ruffy, 4-1 to Aberdeen now. Listen, this is a team, Joe, brimming with confidence. You could be invited up to the Granite City with all the ex-Aberdeen players. No. Okay. Did you win a title with Aberdeen?
No, won the cups at Aberdeen. Won Scottish Cup. I was on the title winning side 84, 85.
Yeah. Not enough appearances
not
for a medal.
No.
How many did you get?
I think there was only a few.
One.
Only a few. Yeah. Only a few. I was only 16 at the time.
There you are. By the way, there you are.
Anyway.
Joe actually just coming in with a fantastic line there, Ruffy. I was so good in the squad. I was only 16.
How many? Is it 12 you have to play?
It used to be high, but 12? I think they just give them now. I think they don't.
Do they?
Just give them away now.
They just give them away.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There's no limit on.
Did you, Mackie? Did you get a silver medal with the SFA
For running?
No.
What's a silver medal?
You get a silver medal when you get to 25 caps. A lot of people never got a medal, but they gave them it once they rejigged it.
I got 5.
Oh, so
I got a quarter. I got a wee quarter.
Did you only get 5 caps, Marcus?
Yeah. It was late. It was a late.
No, it was not. There was such great strikers going about when I was trying to get in the Scotland squad.
Yeah.
Kenny was still playing. Kenny was still playing. Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. Charlie Nicholas, Graham Sharp.
Yeah, and to be fair, you've rhymed off about 3 or 4 there that were miles better than you. So I understand where you're going with that.
I was delighted with 5 caps.
Well, to be honest with you, I thought listen, let's be honest about it. 5 caps, but you could have got a lot more.
Yeah,
but disciplinary problems seem to.
You left out Willie Pettigrew.
Yeah, that was on purpose. He put your ear.
Honestly, I know. Is there any chance you know any modern footballers?
You know anybody?
I'm just saying that's the kind of player that kept him out.
I never kept me out.
I cannot believe. Why did you do that, Maka? Usually you never bite to the noise of it.
He actually kept me out one night.
Yeah, I tell you, St Johnstone have scored, Maka, 2. St Johnstone 2, Aberdeen 4. They're back in the game again, but I still don't think it's enough, Joe.
Battle, yes.
No, still goals in this game. 10 minutes to go, so.
Yeah, I think it's magnificent that we've got this now. We've been crying out for it. I mean, I think the one thing I would say, and I think this is sadly what happens in the west of Scotland, maybe not elsewhere, where some people cry out, and a lot of my friends say to me in the east that, talk about the positives here. Yeah. The positives, quite simply, Ruffy, are Aberdeen are playing, they're winning games, whereas it'll all be about the negativity surrounding Ronnie Dyla and, and the Celtic side that can't live up to the hype.
Yeah, after Celtic beat Aberdeen last year, they went on like 10 points clear, 12 points clear, 15, and Celtic were actually making up things for the supporters to hang on to, like undefeated for 15 games, we haven't lost a goal for 10 games, and they were making up all these things to keep everybody in tenterhooks. But this time, all we're going to be doing is talking about every game we're getting into.
The biggest thing last year was Celtic beat Aberdeen 4 times, didn't they?
Yeah, but that was
And
at
now
the
they've
turning
got
point last
twice.
year.
Now they've beat them twice now. So
The turning point for Aberdeen last year was the game at Parkhead, and that's sort of sealed it for them. They weren't going to put a challenge in. That's when Celtic just kicked on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, let me tell you, Joe, Louis Moult has come on from Motherwell, taken off Lasley, which tells you that Mark McGee wants to go and try and win this game now at home. Doesn't want to head back up to the Tulloch Stadium. Stephen Anderson scored for St Johnstone. Adam Rooney had given Aberdeen a 4-1 lead. Anderson scores for St Johnstone with a looping header. So it's now 4-2 in that game. And it's a crucial game because Aberdeen will draw level on points with Celtic at the top of the table. We have a poll which is ongoing at the moment. Will Aberdeen win the title? That's the question. I'll tell you, there's a terrific chance, Ruffy, for David Amu for Partick Thistle. And he had a real chance to finish it, but he's in a clash with the Kawashima in the United goal, and in the end the ball goes wide of the goal. What a chance to win it.
Yeah, it's a galling thing for strikers, when they can keep themselves onside, and he obviously wasn't watching along the line, and if he just timed his run a wee bit better, it would have been a goal.
when they take my arm through and goal, until you hear that, until you get stopped, I always put the ball in the net anyway. You just, it's just in a situation where you get the goal, or if you get the offside, so be it. Put it by the goalkeeper.
It's the thing I used to do as well, stop when the ball hit the net.
It's a good point, Ruffy. It's a
Listen,
good
I was
point.
going to ask you, see the Aberdeen side, did the Aberdeen side with McDougall and Big Alec McLeish and Ron Miller, did they win anything? Did they win? They never won a trophy, they never won the league, did they? Frank McDougall.
Aye.
Did they win the league?
Aye,
Was that 85, was it?
that was the years that they dominated.
Yeah.
I thought they won the cup.
83.
I didn't know they won the league. I didn't know they won the league.
83, 84, 85.
And then Fergie left.
Then Fergie left.
And then the next, I think the Scottish Cup was delivered by Alex Smith. And then again Aberdeen just went into what I would call
Smith won the
meltdown,
two
where they
trophies,
started
that
appointing.
That was a good team.
Roy Aitken won the cup for
That's right.
Aberdeen.
that was the last
Aberdeen,
time
yeah.
when I was there when Roy won it.
Oh, Roy.
McDougall was there.
McDougall was
McDougall got
brilliant. He
the
was a great
golden
player.
boot.
Yeah,
Frank McDougall got the golden boot in
Yeah.
85, I think it was.
yeah, he was a good player. Adam Johnson has scored for Sunderland, Liverpool leading Sunderland by 2 goals to 1 as we speak. And I can tell you, Dundee United have scored at Tannadice, and it's a brilliant goal. Just a brilliant through ball there, and Scott Fraser is just on the park. He's just side-footed it with his left foot into the back of the net, and the Jags look as if, Ruffy, they are heading out of the cup.
Yeah,
Ruffy's
just saw
dream is dashed.
Yeah.
the monitor there, he was clearly offside. I mean, anybody can see that.
I don't know what monitor you're looking at, Ruffy, but it's a goal. As Kenny Douglas used to say, yeah, it looked offside, but it doesn't say that in the newspaper on the Sunday, does it? That looks like it's curtains for you guys
it
now,
does.
Ruffy.
It could be the wee spark Dundee United
Do you think so?
need. Yeah,
Do you think getting a cup run was what they need? I think.
No, I think they need everything they can get. They need the fans behind. They need the players to believe that they can close that gap. 2 games in hand to Kilmarnock. Yep, you've got to believe.
Yep, you've got to believe.
Got to believe
I feel a song coming. It's as simple as that. But Dundee United are in the lead. So all we need now, Ruffy, is some kind of result from Dumbarton against Dundee, and that game is. I think that game is certainly surprising 0-0 at the moment.
Well, that's the one that I say as if there was, and I get slaughtered for it. I say as if there's going to be a shock, that could be there. It could be a hard game.
Yeah.
For Dundee, down at Dumbarton, poor town of Dumbarton's now getting pelters off me, but it's a hard place to go and play. And Dundee, unless they're at the top of their game, they won't get a result. I didn't think they'd get a result there, but it's still 10 minutes to go. You get 10 minutes. Is that your team?
Dundee? No. No. Oh, you mean in the treble?
Yes,
No,
yes.
Motherwell's my team
mine.
in the treble. And that doesn't seem to be happening at the moment either. It's still 1-1 in that
These are
match.
hopeless, I think, in this treble. I think I'll just go with you, Joe, next week.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Lionel Ainsworth has just had a chance there, but he's just come on. He's had a chance to come on, Joe.
He's had a chance to come on.
Yeah, and he's on. And he's on. Lionel Ainsworth's on now, Joe.
Well, he's on.
So
You've got
could
to
he
take
make
your
a difference,
chance.
Ruffy?
Well, you've got to take your chance when you come on.
Yeah. exactly it. Lionel Angels.
Well, we've seen him in the past with the kind of guy who does come on and has an instant impact. You know, he's not frightened. He's not frightened to have a shot. So I'll be hoping he gets an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Confident player.
Yeah,
Need that.
and at Inverness, Vigas has gone off, and Liam Hughes makes his debut for Inverness Cali Thistle. Will he make a difference? Both managers deciding now that it's time to have a real go in the last few minutes. Somebody could be a hero in the Scottish Cup, and it's always good to be remembered for scoring a goal in a Scottish Cup, and sometimes it's always good to be remembered for making an unbelievable save in a Scottish Cup final or a League Cup final. And amazingly today we have two players who've actually scored in a Scottish Cup final.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Joe, you could have said Ruffy. When did you score?
Just go.
Macca, you scored in 1988, 2 goals.
2 goals, yeah. Just it was against Poor Dundee United.
Dundee United score first that day?
Yeah, they did. Kevin Gallagher. They're a good team.
Yep.
Fair team. It was and some good players, Billy McKinley and all that, and there was good players in
Yes.
the United team. And Big Roy couldn't get a grip of Kevin Gallagher, and he smashed one for about, what, 20 yards? Top corner. And the goalkeeper had no chance. So
that.
14.
And I can tell you, Inverness have scored 25 yards. What a strike into the top corner. Motherwell are out of the Scottish Cup. 3 additional minutes. And Inverness, I'm just going to tell you, I actually think that might have been the substitute who's come on there and got that 20. It was. Liam has scored the goal. What was the second name again? It's just escaped me. Liam Hughes has just scored. And
Liam Hughes.
Jordan Roberts. Have you rearranged those names? Have you rearranged the letters? There's an anagram of Jordan Roberts. You know the last thing you need. See these? They're useless. I'm just looking there and I'm thinking Jordan Roberts has scored. Macca, listen, it's 25 yards. It's top corner.
Top corner.
It's thank you and good night.
Great way to win a game, and good luck to the boy. It could go anywhere. Shots like that. It's right at the top corner, so I'm delighted because that's our treble beat.
Every week, I kid you not, every week without failure, or with failure to be honest with you, we end up with a treble that just doesn't go anywhere, Ruffy.
Yeah, but that's consistency.
One time I was in and the team's winning.
Yeah, we've had 2 wins out of the whole season, which is not good. I'll tell you this: St Johnstone 3, Aberdeen 4. Joe, is there a late drama at McDermott Park?
Well, the Perth's the place to be. A goal fest up there, so must be some game, you know.
You would think
credit
so.
to St Johnstone there.
Must be so.
Credit to St Johnstone coming back.
Wow.
I mean,
It can't be long ago, but it's a minute ago.
Yeah, there's been additional time added on. Tam Scobie has scored, and Tam Scobie usually plays left back, so that gives you an indication that they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this one, roughly, just to try and get an equaliser.
Yeah, in all fairness to them, without Mackay, without Halloran, you know, you would have thought that Aberdeen would have won that quite comfortably. So all credit to St Johnstone. They know they're a team that always puts up a fight right until the end, and I'm sure Aberdeen will be hoping that final whistle blows very quickly.
Yeah, 4-3, incredible. But if Aberdeen get the win, and I can tell you, Jermaine Defoe has just scored for Sunderland. Just popped up there. He's been a fantastic signing, Joe. I think a lot of people thought he's away to the MLS. His career's going downhill. He's come back. He's a top Premiership striker.
Yes, I mean, he knows what the goals are. He scored goals wherever he's went, and
everywhere.
you know, I think, you know, the older the players are, the experience they've got, if they can look after themselves, you know, and you know, they'll always.
Harry Redknapp took him everywhere. He loved him. He took him everywhere, and he's done great for Sam. Sam's given him a couple of days off because saving his legs for the games, which
That's
is
what you do. That's what you do. See any players that's over.
Nobody's ever done that in
over
me,
30s, you know.
But you just took them.
I think the technicality there is you had to have legs in the first place. But I tell you, 4-3, that's amazing. Stirling have gone, Arbroath and Stirling are sharing the spoils here, Robbie. It's finished 1-1 in that match. We're now getting to Dumbarton Dundee. And Ruffy, why are you looking dejected?
I'm dejected because I thought Dundee were going to win that one. You know, but all credit to Dumbarton, a lovely place to go and get a draw.
Hey, Ruffy, let's go to Fir Park because that is as dramatic a finish as you could ever wish to see. Craig Turnbull.
It's Peter, a dramatic finish, as you say. Motherwell 1, Inverness 2. The cup holders through to the quarter-finals, and it was a fantastic goal from substitute Jordan Roberts, a goal worthy of winning any match. Until then, it had been fairly even. McManus' own goal had given Inverness the lead after great play from Carl Tremarco down the left-hand side. Steelmen fought back though, and it was Scott McDonald given the goal after good work from McManus in the box with a header, and he managed to just flick the ball beyond Williams in goal. But then it looked like this was going to head to a replay, which would have been difficult on the Tuesday night up at the Tulloch Caledonian Stadium. But Jordan Roberts, on as a substitute, took the matter into his own hands, and from 25 yards out unleashed a terrific left foot drive into the top corner. Motherwell won this cup 25 years ago. They're going to have to wait another year to see if they can win it again, but the holders are through to the quarter-finals. It's finished here at Fir Park. Motherwell 1, Inverness 2.
Well, Alan Ruff, John Hughes will be well happy with that, especially Jordan Roberts' finish.
Yep, and he's brought a couple of players in, which I think he needed badly. I don't think he got backed by the board enough, obviously with the Dundee United thing hovering there, but certainly his team have been there before, and once you've got a taste of it, I'm sure they'll want to go back there, and that result today will be a massive boost for them.
What a big result, Frank McAvenny, for St Mirren. 1-0 against Queen of the South.
Brilliant result. It's a great result for the club. It keeps them going. It keeps them going, and it's great for everyone concerned with the club. I mean, Alex Ray's getting in there. I'm right in saying it's his first managerial job, isn't it?
No, he was Dundee.
It was Dundee,
yeah.
He was Dundee, but this is, I think, because I've played there, I think it's a great club. St Mirren, I really do, and I thought they were going to challenge this year. Didn't think they would win, but I thought they'd be up there with your Hibs, your Falkirks, and they might still do that, but I'm pleased for them. It's a great result.
Yeah, Ross County 4-2 winners against Linlithgow Rose. I think the junior side can certainly hold their heads up high after a battling performance today. Tottenham won, Watford 0 from the Barclays Premier League is a full-time score as well. A lot of people were suggesting maybe even Tottenham could win it, but certainly not with the form of Leicester City, who defeated Manchester City by 3-1 today at the Etihad Stadium in Manchester. What a result with that one. Mahrez and Robert Huth scoring 2 goals. So as the scores come in there, we're going to be going to Tannadice after the break because Dundee United are celebrating, Ruffy.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I'm sure everybody up, the supporters who have had a terrible time in the last 2 or 3 months will take that, a favourable draw in the next round, and they could be back in a big time again.
Okay, stick with us. We'll get reaction from the managers, including a chat about Mark Warburton and Lee McCulloch's take on the 0-0 for Rangers Kilmarnock today, and we'll look ahead to the other cup ties, the big cup ties tomorrow in Scotland. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, Joe Miller and Frank McAvenny are with me here on the programme this afternoon. I think we've come roaring back with an afternoon of goals, excitement, opinion, chat, interaction as well. It's all been there. Tannadice, not for the faint-hearted. Derek Clark has the details.
Yeah, full time here at Tannadice. It's finished. Dundee United 1, Partick Thistle 0, and it's super sub Scott Fraser, who's a hero for the Arbors, with a winning goal 5 minutes from time. And what a goal it was. Blair Spittle deceived the Partick backline with a clever reverse pass into the path of Fraser, and he coolly side-footed the ball into the far corner with his left foot. The goal aside, though, it was a game devoid of any real clear-cut chances. Rankin and Murray forced a couple of saves out of Thomas Cherney in the first half, while Murray came within inches of connecting with a Rankin drive across the face of goal in the second half. Thistle, in all honesty, were poor. They struggled to test United backline the whole game. David Amu probably had their best opportunity when he was put in on goal, but he didn't realise he was onside, and he clashed with Kabashima, and the chance was lost. It may not have been pretty, but the United rebuilding job continues. They're into the next round. It's finished here at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Partick 0.
Yep, and thanks to Derek Clark, and happy birthday to Derek. He's 30 years of age, Ruffy. It's well worth a happy birthday to him, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is, and I saw a lot of tweets there. 2 people commenting on his birthday, so he's a well-liked guy.
With all due respect to you, Ruffy, surely you can be kinder to that.
There's lots of tweets.
Yeah,
lots of tweets.
Yeah, absolutely. And Derek's just said you can always count on your mum, and that's the most important. And I can tell you, Derek, that I can remember my mother saying to me as well, the time to worry is when you get no tweets. That's the time to worry. Happy birthday to him. Anyway, just let's look at the
sweets there.
No, tweets. Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the full-time scores then. In the Scottish Cup to see if there's been any real drama, and some of the scores, the full times that have shocked you. Rangers 0, Kilmarnock 0, Annan Athletic 1, Morton 4, Dumbarton 0, Dundee 0, Dundee United 1, Partick Thistle 0, Motherwell 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 2, and Ross County 4, Linlithgow Rose 2. So, Premiership and Championship, what a scoreline from McDermott Park. St Johnstone 3, Aberdeen 4, Championship, St Mirren 1, Queen of the South 0, and in League 1, Airdrieonians 2, Cowdenbeath 0, Ayr United 1, Peterhead 2, Forfar 1, Stranraer 1, and Stenhousemuir 0, Dunfermline 3. In League 2, Arbroath 1, Stirling Albion 1, Berwick Rangers 2, East Stirlingshire 2, Montrose 2, East Fife 2, and Queen's Park 0, Elgin City 0. The Premier League in England, Manchester City 1, Leicester 3, Aston Villa 2, Norwich 0, Liverpool 2, Sunderland 2, Newcastle 1, West Brom 0, Stoke City 0, Everton 3, Swansea City 1, Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 1, Watford 0, and Southampton against West Ham is the 5:30 kick-off. Reaction from the Scottish Cup and the lower leagues in Scotland on the way. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday football show. In adversity, you've got to show backbone. You've got to have that spine. You've got to have that belief. And as Joe Miller said to me in troubled times in midweek, score the first goal and carry on regardless. So it's the best bit of advice I've had today, Joe, because it's been an afternoon where we've tipped various teams to come through, and it hasn't quite worked out. It's been a Scottish Cup where there's been a few that we thought were going to win, didn't quite materialise. Dumbarton, I think, can take great credit, Ruffy, from a 0-0 against Dundee.
Yeah, I think in looking at that fixture, the way Dumbarton had been playing recently, you would have thought Dundee going down there with the strikers they've got available, that they'd have won that one narrowly. But maybe they had Dumbarton backs against the wall. We don't know that, but at the end of the day, it's a good result for Dumbarton.
Yep, another one there. I think Kilmarnock will feel happy enough, Joe, with a 0-0 at Ibrox, because I got the feeling that people were thinking Rangers should win this one.
Yeah, I think everybody fancies Rangers to win that. And the way they played, I think Rangers had more possession, more chances. I think Kilmarnock parked the bus in the second half. I think there was Rangers were raining down on them, but at the same time, it is a good result for Kilmarnock.
Gary Locke must be thinking, why couldn't they have played like that for me? Because they played quite well. They stood up, didn't they? I mean, I know Lee McCullough's made a lot of changes, Peter. He's identified a few things and he's brought players in. But as a manager, you've just walked away and you must think, God, why did they not give me that effort?
Yeah, well, he'll fancy his chances at Rugby Park now, so the tie's not over, and he's in with a good shout.
And Ruffy, Mark Warburton says that just the overriding emotion today at full time was frustration.
I think it was frustration. As Joe said there, they had 3 or 4 chances, but just a lack of quality at the end of it. Yeah. Boy, Waghorn had a clear-cut chance. There was balls flashing across the goal. Couldn't get in the end of it. Jamie McDonald had 2 very good saves. But in the first 30 minutes, Kilmarnock had chances as well. Kilmarnock, gave them a wee fright. I think Rangers early on wouldn't have come up against opposition like that would have a go at them in the first 30 minutes. And the goalkeeper did a save, unorthodox, okay with his face, but every one of them
a couple of chances were in the box. We were watching it, and a couple of great balls get flung in the box for Rangers.
Yeah.
And it just needed what I call an out-and-out striker to get in there, because somebody like Andy Gray used to say he didn't get that face by holding out of tackles. He used to dive into things like that and put the ball. He got the goal, but it's things that there was a lot of people. I've been by about 3 Rangers players, and I'm thinking not one of them's sort of 100% went for that. If you know what I mean, they wanted to get a touch. Yeah. But sometimes you've just got to give it a wee bit extra if you want that goal.
Yeah. Well, you've got to be brave, and certainly Inverness were brave. They threw on a few substitutes. Jordan Roberts was the difference between the two sides at Fir Park, because he hit an absolute cracker in the dying minutes to secure a 2-1 win for the Scottish Cup holders Inverness against Motherwell. So they are into the next round, and well done to Ross County. They're also through. It's been a great week for Jim McIntyre, a 4-2 win over Lithgow Rose, and of course a place in the League Cup final with that victory over Celtic. Give us your reaction at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Alan Ruff, Joe Miller and Frank McAvenny will discuss the results and look ahead to the Cup ties tomorrow. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Roth, Joe Miller and Frank McAvenny are with me here in the studio to reflect on some amazing scorelines in the Scottish Cup and, of course, down the leagues in Scotland. We'll talk about that Premiership result in a moment. Aberdeen now level on points with Celtic at the top of the Premiership as well. It's absolutely incredible. I think some of the reaction from the managers to defeats today in the Scottish Cup, certainly I am paraphrasing this, Matt McGee has said he's gutted. I've left out a few words there, a few expletives, but he's not happy. He feels as if Margaro Gomes was barged in the back before the eventual winner from Inverness, so I think he's letting his feelings be known. Now, our reporter Craig Turnbull will be back up. I wonder how he'll try and sum it up. Mark McGee's always good for a quote in this one. He says he was satisfied with the performance, Ruffy, so clearly thought his team had played well on the day, but you're beaten by a wonder goal. Yeah, and when you're beaten by a wonder goal so late on, you know, when sometimes you're happy to get the draw and go for the replay, but to be beat that late on, there's no way back. It sometimes can make a reaction that you don't usually expect, but it just hurts. It hurts so bad because you want to have a good run, and he went in there initially and he got Motherwell winning games, but they're on the slide a wee bit, and just to keep in the cup would have just kept everybody ticking over. Yep, so they are out of it, but one of the scorelines from the Premiership, Joe, Aberdeen have secured a 4-3 win away at McDermott Park. Great credit to the Dons. They're not only in the race, they now maybe have got the belief and the momentum that they can win the race.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been some game. I mean, they looked comfortable. They were 3-1 up, and in the final 10 minutes, they go 4, it goes to 4-2, and all of a sudden, you know, into injury time, near the injury time, it's 4-3. So,
terrible
you know,
defence.
Terrible. To go to McDermott Park and score 4 goals, Derek McInnes would have been gutted if he'd even managed. St Johnstone managed to get a draw, but he's managed to hold on, and he's got 3 good points there, which keeps the title race going.
I think he'll be disappointed that they've let the 3 goals in, but he'll be delighted with the result, because it's
been a tough week as well with that group of players, you know, coming out against Celtic as well midweek, and
but they're still going. They're still going high. That was a big result for them midweek. So to go there and put a performance in, they'd have thought they had it won with scoring 2, and then St Johnstone's fought back. So they knew they had to roll their sleeves up and get into the game again. Yeah, a couple from Rooney. He scored 18 for the season now, and also Pollitt and Niall McGinn scoring for Aberdeen. That shows, I think, their mental toughness now. When we talk about teams that have that streak in them, that belief, you know, we're talking about Hibs going on that huge unbeaten run and battling with Rangers. Aberdeen now have got the momentum, and they also now know they've drawn level, Ruffy. So the pressure is unbelievable, I think, on Celtic. Yeah, it is. But I mean, Celtic will come out and say, right, we've got 2 home games coming up. You know, that could get them back in front again. But as you said earlier, the Aberdeen players have now got a belief there. I mean, that massive gap isn't there. They've already beaten Celtic where they didn't last year. So everything is positive in the camp. And I have to say that they've got there with certain players not playing as well as what they did last year. I mean, Niall McGinn in particular was scoring goals for fun. He hasn't been so effective this year. Pollitt's been in and out. Jack's been injured. So with the players they've got, they've really dug in and got themselves into a healthy position. Is there any bonus in this one for the Celtic manager that they've got Ross County and Inverness at home, Frank? Not that bonus. I think they've just got to settle the ship, really. Ronnie's got to, he's got to establish. I would like to see them establishing a defence, a decent, and playing. It would just be great to play the same 4 players for 2 or 3 games. I mean, they've got this Sviatchenko, who I think he's not the tallest player in the world, but I think he's not a bad player. But on the evidence of the last couple of games, and I think that partnership with Simonovic, that could be the partnership that Celtic's been looking for. but unfortunately, you know, the big boy's injured, so they've had to chop and change him. Boyata, I don't think Boyata is the answer for in the Celtic defence. So, and as you say, you know, they've had the young boy at the back, so there's been chopping and changing, and they've not had a Celtic defence. I think once they get a Celtic defence and everyone's fit, then you'll see Celtic going and playing, because it's one of them, and you've got a defence you're comfortable with. You know, you'll charge forward, whereas at the moment they can't have much confidence in them. You know, the midfield players can't have a lot of confidence in the defence, so they're not going to run away and leave them.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to put that tweet back out again just before we finish this programme tonight, because when we put out the tweet earlier, will Aberdeen win the title? It was an emphatic 70% saying no at the time. If we retweet that out there, you never know. It might just change dramatically now, Joe, because again, you know, maybe some people were thinking they could slip up at McDermott Park.
Yeah, I think that quite a few people thought that maybe even that would be a draw today, but I thought Aberdeen had a good bit of momentum. They played well midweek. The only thing it might have, if they were going to slip up today, would have been tiredness, because they put a lot of effort into the game midweek, but at the same time, you know, they've scored 4 goals at McDermott Park, and it's a great result for them. So the confidence is with them at the moment, and you know, I think they've sent out a message that they mean business this year.
Yep, okay. And the question on at Peter and Ruffy is, will Aberdeen win the title? And I'm looking at the Aberdeen team, and suddenly you've got Simon Church coming into the equation as well. Rooney scoring, Pollitt's back in there, Johnny Hayes, even with a dog biting him, is still able to take to the field and, you know, produce a sterling performance. Shea Logan is a danger for them. They've got solidity in Ash Taylor and Mark Reynolds there. Graham Shinney's a good player as well. You know, suddenly everything around Aberdeen, you know, is good, Ruffy.
Yeah, and guys will tell you, when you're in that scenario in a football team, everything's rosy. You know, everybody's looking forward to training. There's always a bit of banter in the dressing room. You can relax a wee bit. You know, the pressure's on Celtic just a wee bit, and you just enjoy everything you're doing. Or you're even walking about the place in Aberdeen, and everybody will be patting them in the back. Everybody will be wanting to say well done, and it is a good place to be when things like that are happening. But they really need to keep winning. That's the be all and end all.
I think so, and you know, they talk about pressure. The Celtic boys under pressure. You know, let's be honest. If you want to go to a club like Celtic, a big club like Celtic, that's what you're wanting. You're wanting the big games. You're wanting to go out and play big games all the time. You look forward to it. You know, pressure, and it's just that it takes a different kind of animal that can stand up to that, because every week is a cup final when you're playing with Celtic. You've got to get up for that game, because every team that you're playing against is going to step up their game because they're playing against Celtic. And that's what happens. So you've got to be at the top of your game, Ruffy, every single week.
But you know, and I know that there are players who go there and can't handle it. You know, and I think that's what I think Aberdeen will be looking at. Aberdeen will be looking at, Mackay Stephen was a good player at Dundee. Yeah, Armstrong was a good player. Certainly the young boys got a lot to improve. The 2 new signings they've got, they've never been there. No, they've never experienced, you know, once that support of things aren't going well, you know, they give you a wee bit of a hassle, and then you've got to react to it. This is something that these players, well, not them all, but I would say 50% of them have never had to deal with. Well, the new players that come in, Mackay Stephen and Armstrong and McGregor, they come in, they see they're all good players on the pitch when they've got the ball. When they've got the ball, they're all good players. But see, like the other night, the last 2 games, people have been diving into them. And all I see is them try to flick it, and I'm thinking, just hold on to the ball. You know, you've got to be, that's when you've got to be brave. Midfield players have got to be brave, they've got to take a tackle. They've got to stand up and hold the ball. And just, instead of that flicking it, and it's like they're flicking it and trying to move, and it's not on. You've got to be brave. The 3 midfield players that start doing that, then it's a lightweight.
I think it's simple now. I think, you know, the Celtic players, the management, the board, they've all, you know, a message has been sent out by Aberdeen now. They mean business and they're in for a fight, and I think it's down to Celtic now. You know, what are they going to stand up to this challenge or not? Yeah. Well, and that's the bottom line.
Well, let's look at that table, because the Premiership table in Scotland, Aberdeen level on points with Celtic. They've played a game more. Celtic's next 2 games, as I mentioned, Ross County and Inverness at home at Celtic Park, because the Dundee against Celtic match has been rescheduled. So, game on. That's what we were looking for. It's no longer a one-horse race in the Scottish Premiership. It's Aberdeen almost certainly in the mix. Now, Ruffy, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, looking at that table then, I know we're not too far away for the split. The other thing as well, I don't think it'll worry Aberdeen now if they got to the split and they were 3 points behind. Because once you get to the split, then you're talking about the pressure, and then you're talking about having to handle it. And the top 6 teams, as we've seen this year, are capable of taking points off of each other. So
right.
Once you get that split, and sometimes it's somebody's got 3 home games and 2 away, or 2 away and 3, that could go for you as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Championship in just a minute. We'll look at that table shortly. Just one other little point I want to draw to your attention. It's about football, and it's after all only a game, and the Rangers fans had a nice banner for Lee McCulloch. Welcome back to Ibrox. Nice touch, Macca, because I think he was a wee bit worried, and I don't know why.
He was a wee bit worried. You know, he stood by Rangers, didn't want to leave when everyone else was leaving, and the fans are remembering that. But he's went there and he loved it. He says he got off the bus when it was on TV, and he says he got off the bus and the crowd outside gave him a good welcome, and he's walked in.
He had to captain the side through their darkest times.
I know he did. I know.
You know, they weren't playing well. Everybody was against him. You know, so it takes a big player to stand up and still
nice
put on a jersey and go out and perform.
It's nice for him to go back and get a result as well. It's a great result.
It's a great result, but he's came back there, you know, and it's good to see that he's appreciated again, because he was at Rangers for quite a few years, and he put a lot of effort there, and he was also asked to play many positions out his comfort zone at times. So. Fair credit to them today.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice touch by the Rangers fans for an old boy coming back there, and what a good result for Lee McCulloch. They'll get a replay out of that. Listen, another old Rangers boy is the manager of St Mirren. 1-0 today against Queen of the South. We had him on the programme last night, Alec Ray, and he's added 3 or 4 players that he hopes will be able to do a job for him. Rocco Quinn, good signing. Alec Cooper, David Clarkson in there as well, to name but 3 of the 4. The 4th one actually should be able to come to mind. Ruffy, can you remember who that 4th one was? Was Alec Cooper, Rocco Quinn, David Clarkson.
Somebody, Irvin?
Gary Irvin, well done, good shout from Dundee. So there you have it, you know, they get a 1-0 win today. Let's have a look at the Championship table to show you that St Mirren suddenly are above Dumbarton, 24 points, only 4 off what effectively would be a playoff place for them. That would be amazing, Ruffy.
Yeah, that was the point I made to Alec yesterday, but obviously he was saving himself a wee bit, that I've been brought in here to keep us away from relegation. That would be my priority, but knowing Alec as we do, you know, once he gets a sniff of that 4th place, that's the only thing he'll be looking at. He'll be looking at up, and you know, certainly that result today against Queen of the South, one of the challengers for that place, can do nothing but good. And as we're talking about Aberdeen, the same would be with St Mirren. I mean, the last 2 years at St Mirren, if you were a player hanging about the dressing room, you just want to get out and get your clothes home and go up the road. But now you're winning games, and the place will be a lot happier. I'm sure Alex, the training will be enjoyable. The whole of Paisley will get right behind them, and I mean, they're in a good place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you want to put your clothes on first before you head home, rather than get your clothes home and then head up the road.
Never hung out
Especially in Paisley.
You wouldn't have noticed in Paisley.
Yeah, absolutely. You certainly wouldn't have noticed when Macca and I were running about Paisley at 3:30 in the morning. But nevertheless, Alec Ray will be a happy man. It's just, Ruffy, every now and then you come out with a line and it doesn't ring true, and I have to jump in. Now, here's my look at League One before we get to the Edinburgh Derby. Here's the League One table. Dunfermline get the win, but I think Peterhead's win against Ayr United is a great win for Jim McInally, Joe.
It is a great result, you know, to go there as well. Ayr United have been playing well over the past few weeks. But Jim's another one. He's just quiet. He's done the same sort of job like Jim Duffy has done. He's quietly went about his business. He's been under the radar. Not a lot of publicity.
I mean, I think Ian McCall's done there and done a great. I think he's done a great job.
Yeah,
because
too. You're right.
They were hopeless, and did I not say they must have had a goal chopped off because it went to 2 each on the screen there, and I didn't catch it, so it must have been a goal chopped off because I thought
2-1.
Yeah, but I thought it came up on the screen 2 each, so it must have been chopped off the goal.
Yeah.
So it's a good game. He's up there. He's still in third place. He's up the top. He's in the top 4. He'll be delighted because when he took the job, he wouldn't have thought. Well, he would have thought non-collie, but the team and everyone down at Ayr wouldn't have thought they would have been in that position this quick. But we know Ian McCall, and he's no short of confidence. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think he's done a tremendous job there, and of course, another one of those managers who has a great amount of experience. He just wanted to be given another chance.
Yeah, it's noticeable that the guys that went in there, like Barry Ferguson, Ian McCall, Alec Ray to a certain extent, they've went into the job, they've assessed what they've got, and right away and quickly they've assessed the kind of players that they need to bring in to get them success. And that's a sign of a good manager. That's a sign of identifying people coming in. If you look at the things that have been happening in the last 2 or 3 years and they haven't worked, and all of a sudden that's what I want a player, that's what I want. And then you go out and get them, and then you see the rewards.
Yeah, I mean, I think good players know right away what's needed in the team. If you've played the game or you've got any knowledge of the game, you go in and you can identify right away what's needing to be. I mean, that's what I think. I never managed, but many other thousands. We're talking about Celtic. We've got to sort of defence it. It didn't take Einstein to work that one out, but it's not happened over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And that's a big baffle to all the supporters.
Need to get Einstein on it.
Need to get Einstein. Theory. It's a wee theory we've got.
Yeah, I just right now Einstein's 5-4 to get the job. Who knows? Everybody's in the running these days, but Ronnie Tyler still has the. Joe, you're in big trouble, son. Ronnie Tyler's still in charge at the moment. East Kilbride, the opposition for tomorrow. I might as well talk about the other game, which I think is the game of the weekend, which is Hearts against Hibs. Ruffy, it is all the makings of a cracker. Your record is abysmal. 17 Edinburgh derbies, Ruffy, and you never won one. 17.
No.
You were a jinx.
Yeah. I have to be perfectly honest. I blame the four in front of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
As you do.
As you do.
Yeah, they weren't the strongest. But, no, I'm only joking. No, it's 17 games, and I think we lost 9 and. What's 9 and 7? We lost 9 and drew 8.
I'll keep you right.
You might have had a poor record, but to be perfectly honest with you,
before me,
there's been a few before and after you, but I have to say, this is a different game now. There are so many battles across the park that I'm really looking forward to. You've got a Hibs team in form. You've got a Hearts team that I think have had a great season. If anything, the only reason I was swaying, and I said to you guys at the start of the game, the start of the programme, the only reason I was saying Hearts is because I think that edge of Tynecastle, their physicality, if anything, they could just edge it by a solitary goal.
Yeah, I think Alan Stubbs and Hibs need to come away from Tynecastle with a credible display. I don't think it's the end of the world if they lose it. I don't think it's a priority. They don't want to be on the end of a heavy beating. I'm not saying that's going to happen because, as we know, Hibs and Hearts do rub it in for a long time. I know Rangers and Celtic do, supporters do as well. But if you get on top of Hibs want to beat Hearts, it's in the city. It lingers there for a few years. If you're a player that's played in these games, you have to live with it. And I think that's the only thing that Hibs will go there a wee bit nervous that something like that might have happened, because the Hearts supporters will continue to remember them of what happened in that heavy defeat in the Cup. So the only way to sort that out is to go there and get a win. I can't see them winning. I can see them getting a draw.
Yeah, I'm looking at the sides. I mean, when you look at a team that's well organised, that's been on a run, a superb run under Alan Stubbs, you've got Fontaine in there, you've got McGregor, you've got Gunnarsson, you've got the midfield for me for Hibernian is stronger, I think, than Hearts. You might disagree with me on this, guys. I think they've got a stronger midfield. Henderson, Fyvie, McGeoch in there, and obviously John McGinn, I think, who is a star. They've added Stokes to the equation. I think it's a stronger midfield as far as technical ability, Joe. Is that fair?
Definitely. I think that Alan Stubbs, he's went in there. He's ticked all the boxes of a manager that means business, and he's handling the press well. He's handled this kind of resurgence and the challenge that Rangers put down, and whether he was going to challenge Rangers or not. And he's ticked all the boxes. He's put a team together that's playing for him. And as you say, the midfield players are outstanding, and I think they can, dominate the game tomorrow. I think Hibs will get a result there.
I fancy them. I fancy Hibs. Can Stokes allegedly is he okay for tomorrow?
Yes.
To play,
Cup tie? No.
No cup tie, did he?
No.
He can play. He can play. I think just as Stokes going in and the way Stubbs is, he's just got everything. He just seems to have the edge over different managers at the moment. I think he might get. I don't know if they'll win, but they'll get a result.
Well, wait a minute.
Result.
Well, hold on a minute. You think they'll win? You said you think they'll win. I don't
I'll
know if they'll win, or I think
they'll get a result, whether it's a draw or a win. But they'll not get. I don't think they'll get beat tomorrow.
Right. So you're going.
I'll go for a win.
A win for Hibs. A win for Hibs.
I'm going one each.
And you're going one each. Okay. Now, counter that, I've mentioned the qualities that Hibs have.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the qualities of Hearts, because I look at their side and I'm saying to myself, Patterson, really impressive, good going forward, can really hit a goal from 25 yards. He's proved that. He can hit a free kick. Maybe a little suspect at the back defending. You've got Ozturk, you've got Augustine, you've got Boabin, you've got Arnaud Djum, Payardo I've been impressed with. I think that I don't know about you, but I think the So is a red herring, Ruffy. I can't see him playing if they're on the verge of a £1.5 million deal.
Yeah, but looking at the papers this morning, you look at Robbie Nielsen saying it's up to the boy. There's no problems transfer wise. The club have said he can come back, so they're putting it up to him. So it's not a definite no. I'm sure it'd be a fantastic farewell for him if he was to go in and win the game and score the winning goal. So if he's leaving it up to the boy, I don't know about the guys, but I think I'd want to play.
Oh, I'd want to play.
I'd want to play. I'd want to score. I'd want to play in that game. But I just feel that when Hearts come up, a team of equal ability, or a team that they're a wee bit frightened, they tend to spoil the game. If you look at the last game, Hearts versus Aberdeen, they stopped Aberdeen playing. It was dull. It was towsy. There wasn't a lot of efforts on goal.
But then I think they'll has to step up.
I think they'll identify Hibs as that kind of that, as you've said, ball skill wise in the middle of the field. They've got the onus on them, and if Alan Stubbs is bold enough to play Stokes and Cummins, that gives them something to think about. So I just think that they'll try and first 15 minutes will try and spoil the game. They'll identify McGinn, they'll identify McGee. I think they'll look at Liam Henderson, and the players that you've talked about, the experienced players, will just get in about them. They'll stop the game, they'll stop the flow of the game, and then see what happens after that.
That's where the boys step up.
I think the point here is, everybody, on paper you can look at this game till you're blue in the face. It's about, if there's a team that are technically better than you, the game itself is how to stop them. And if it means that you've got to out-muscle them, then fine, that's the game.
They did it up at Pittodrie as well. They did it up at Pittodrie to the boy handled the ball near the game.
Guys from
good this is at home. This is at home.
Henderson, Stokes, they're good enough to step up. McGinn, they're good enough to step up.
Yeah. Well, they've got a new signing in there as well. They got him from Vitesse Arnhem, Abiola Dauda. They've got him on loan. So he may well get a baptism of fire for Hearts. They might throw him in. But the one thing was, well, absolutely. But not only that, Frank. I love the question from journalists saying, "Will you be affected by an Edinburgh derby?" And he's saying to himself, "No, I played Red Star, Belgrade, Partizan derby, which I don't know if you guys have ever experienced Belgrade, but I can remember going to. Have you, Joe?
We have,
Yeah, I remember going
Partizan
to
Belgrade.
Red Star Belgrade
Red Star
Rangers,
Belgrade,
and basically the person who was taking us there on the bus off the plane was taking us round the tour, and he just basically, when we got into the stadium, he said,
You're on your own.
"You'll notice." Well, it was more. Mackie, you'll never believe this. He said, "On the left-hand side here are the Red Star Belgrade fans. There are no police in there. They police themselves," and it was outrageous. I mean,
right?
oh yeah. I mean, if you were in the wrong seat,
Oh,
there was a full scaler, and they were there was fights, there was flares, there was what seemed like bombs going off everywhere. It was the most frightening place you could ever witness.
We had that when we played Partizan
Like a
over.
midweek disco in Paisley when you were
It was like Paris nightclub on a Wednesday night for Macca, and bombs going off. In the background, the real thing, you to me and everything. But you never knew if you were going to get out safe, Macca. It's as simple
always
as that.
had my taxi.
But Joe, I mean, it's
It's a volatile place. We played Partizan Belgrade, and it was. We had to get escorted in and out. The security around us, even round the hotel, they were just out at night just singing, and as you say, fireworks going off.
Security was singing.
It was unbelievable. It wasn't it was themselves.
The last thing I want to do, Joe, is leave someone on their own, especially at Fir Park, and that's Craig Turnbull. Craig, you've been listening to the managers after that win for Inverness Cally Thistle. What, first of all, did John Hughes have to say?
Peter, I certainly have. John Hughes was delighted, obviously, to get through to the next round of the quarter-finals. He felt there's a little bit more pressure on his side, being the holders here, and he was absolutely delighted for Jordan Roberts. Has had a really, as he put it, torturous time at Inverness since he got to the Highlands, because he struggled with injury and had a really stop-start start to his career at Inverness. So thoroughly delighted for him.
And of course, for the highs, there has to be a low. How did Mark McGee explain the defeat?
Mark McGee was absolutely livid with the defeat, Peter. You couldn't fault his team's performance, but he was really furious with the fact that the foul wasn't given in the build-up to the winner. Apparently, I missed it, and a few other press people had missed it as well, but Gomez had been barged off the ball by Roberts in the build-up to the goal. Referee Stephen McLean, who was only about 5 yards away, allowed play to continue, and Roberts just drove forward and smashed one into the top corner. But McGee was really unhappy that a foul hadn't been given before Roberts was allowed to put it in the top corner.
And I don't think even John Hughes would allow himself to talk about retaining the Scottish Cup. Was he mentioning anything about the draw?
Well, Peter, I think he was just quite happy to be in the hat. Obviously, it'll be a really tall order for Inverness to try and retain the cup, so he would just be happy whoever he gets. He doesn't really say anything about actually retaining it, so I think he'll be just quite happy to be in Monday's draw.
Okay, thank you very much to Craig Turnbull. Watching Inverness move into the next round of the Cup after that 2-1 win against Motherwell. It's Saturday Football Show. We're talking about the Edinburgh Derby. Who do you think is going to come out on top? At Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Give us your thoughts. I'll be reading out some of your tweets. Your interaction will also be giving you the latest on the poll. Will Aberdeen win the title? Because the news today in Scotland, Aberdeen's 4-3 win against St Johnstone moves them level on points with Celtic. We have a race on our hands in the Premiership, something we've been looking for more than a few years, Alan Ruff.
Yeah, certainly is. And it's better than somebody winning the league by 19 points for the last 3 months of the season. It's a bit of a damp squid, but I think this year we'll have a lot of excitement, obviously for the neutrals, and it remains to be seen which of the two teams really steps up to the plate.
Yep, okay. We will talk more about the Edinburgh Derby. I can tell you it's Southampton 1, West Ham 0. Long way to go in that match. So the Hammers have still got a chance to get back into the game. If they do, in the next 20 or so minutes, you'll see Frank McAvenny jumping up and down, celebrating. He always likes to support all his old teams, if he can remember most of them that he played for. Frank McAvenny, Joe Miller and Alan Ruff are with me here. Don't forget to interact with us. There's more reaction from the Scottish Cup coming up, and we'll also ask the question, can Leicester City win the Barclays Premier League? Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Alan Ruff, Joe Miller and Frank McAvenny are with me here in the studio. A dramatic day in the Scottish Cup, and an equally dramatic day down south in the Barclays Premier League. We'll discuss that shortly as well. Here's the results from the Scottish Cup fifth round matches today. The early kick-off: Rangers 0, Kilmarnock 0, Annan Athletic 1, Morton 4, Dumbarton 0, Dundee 0, Dundee United 1, Partick Thistle 0, Motherwell 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 2, and Ross County 4, Linlithgow Rose 2 is how it looks from the Scottish Cup today. Good 0-0 for Lee McCulloch. Killie get a second bite at the cherry, Ruffy.
Yes, and although we all want attractive football and chances, there is a good feeling if you can come away from a place like Ibrox and you defend well, and you know the way things are going there. The manager's obviously trying to get Lee McCulloch is trying to get the job fair dues to him. You know, he'll walk away.
He
The
said he
players
doesn't
will
want it,
respond.
but
No, I think he will. But you know, I mean, Rangers were forcing the game. But again, you know, you go to Ibrox and 9 times out of 10, if you can come away with a draw,
I think
it's a
it shows you how far Rangers have to step up if they come up to the Premier League, because they're second bottom of the league. They've been playing awful, and they put up a good performance today. To go there, they were underdogs to go to Ibrox.
Well, they've been beaten by Dundee United.
Yeah, exactly. I know that, but
Yeah.
there's a big. I think there's a difference between the Championship and the Premiership. Even though the bottom teams, I still think there's a, you know, as Rangers found out in the playoffs last year, you know, Motherwell were awful, but they gave Rangers a hiding. So
Yeah.
I think they know that, but I just think for the Kilmarnock go there as the underdogs, the Premiership team to go there as the underdogs, I think that's a good result for them.
Yeah, it's a much changed Rangers side this season, but a 0-0 nonetheless, a replay. And also, I think we've got to mention, I don't think we've mentioned it too much today, Scott Fraser stepped up to the plate, got the winner for Dundee United. I think that's a good result, Ruffy, for Dundee United, considering what's been happening over the last few weeks and months.
Yeah, I think when Mixie went there, you know, a couple of results never went for him, but then he got a wee rub of the green and they won a game. You know, they're looking a wee bit more organised. Every time you hear a Dundee United team getting read out, you know, they look on paper as if they've got decent players, and decent players when everything's going well for you and you've not got the fans howling down your neck every week, you can relax and play a wee bit. And although they ground out a result there today, the Dundee United supporters will be away quite happy, and so will the players and the manager.
They've got some decent players. Demel's a good player for them, and he's just got injured again. I don't know how long it'll be out. Hopefully for Mitchell it'll not be too long, and you know, because he's a good player, he's a big player for any team. So it's a good result for Mitchell. I don't know if it's what he needs, a cup run to take the pressure away from the league, but you know, it's a good result. If you don't get confidence if you're taking 5 off a team, then you'll never get confidence. And they've done that last week. They've done exceptional last week, and they've carried it on. Albeit it was a close game, they got a result, which is, it's always good to get a wee boost. And it ups everyone in the changing room, as you say, Rolf. Everyone starts laughing and, you know, making jokes about the changing room all week, and then you go to play a game again. So
it'll be incredible if he manages to get that out of this situation.
Yeah,
you know,
Do you believe they will, Joe?
I don't think. I think there's a lot of points to. You know, I think the bigger clubs up the top of the league will be fighting for. No, I think there'll be a few points dropped by that would then come up against the likes of Aberdeen and Celtic in that game.
Yeah, one guy who could be in the list of managers of the year, I think, will be Jim McIntyre. I think he's produced a splendid performance against Celtic in the League Cup semi-final, and you look at that Ross County side in the top 4 in Scotland.
Yeah, well, you look where they were before he went there. You know, there was a side of chop and change. It was a side of just shipping in 6 foreigners out in January. You know, the whole team was disorganised. Jim went in there, again, as I spoke about earlier, identified the kind of player he wanted to play in his system. He got them in as quick as possible. You have to say the owner backed him as well. And they're on the up. And for Ross County, from where they were till now, in a cup final, sitting, what is it, 4th, 5th in the league, it's an incredible turnover.
Yes, it is. Now, we had a poll at the start of the programme. Will Aberdeen win the title? And it was 70-30, and it's now, even more emphatic, no. 78% say no, 22% have stated they think yes. Well, today I thought that might have swayed a little the other way.
22% the Rangers fans that never went to a game a day.
Well, to be fair, let's have a look at that table, because I think it'll be, viewing that the Aberdeen fans certainly will enjoy. There it is, Aberdeen level on points with Celtic, and it's all to play for at the top of the table, and in fact at the bottom of the table to try and avoid the playoff places. It's all to play for as well, but that points total there means that Ruffy and myself will be going out for a slap-up meal, courtesy of Frank McAvenny.
On that score, how are you used to doing your predictions? Is it finished?
No, the predictions are
How far
are
ahead
going
are you?
well. I'm not quite sure if we have them available at the moment, but we'll come back to that before we go off here. But don't worry about it. I think we had a few
talk about it
predictions.
over a meal.
Yeah, have we actually got the predictions? Yeah, we haven't tallied it yet, but we do have the predictions.
Too far gone.
For
Of
today.
them. Let's see what we predicted, Ruffy, to see. I got the Rangers one wrong. Morton, I got 3 points. Dundee, I got it wrong. I've got Dundee United and Motherwell wrong. Oh, I'm abysmal in this one.
Dundee United you got.
I think I got 6 points so far. Ruffy, did you get any points?
I got Dundee United 5, Ross County 3, and
That's about it. Okay, it's all hanging on tomorrow. I think that head-to-head that we're going through this season, I think I need a miracle to win it. But that's just the way it goes, Ruffy. I think you're going to enjoy a meal out on me this season.
Yeah, but we'll probably have to go over Frank's meal first.
Let's concentrate on this week where Frank takes us out.
Don't you put more weight on.
And to be fair,
I'll be more than happy to put more weight on that night.
absolutely. And the good news is, Prague, here we come. Anyway, let's look at the scorelines from Premiership and Championship, because there's another scoreline there that I think is well worthy of a mention, and it's St Mirren in the Championship. 1-0 win over Queen of the South. We talked about Aberdeen, but there's St Mirren, Ruffy, with a 1-0 win over Queen of the South.
Yeah, and he'll be pleased, as will his directors, because they will be coming in under a bit of pressure as well for the fans. You know, where they were, everybody was tipping about if they dropped another division, would that be the end of them? So, no, all credit to him. He's went in there and dealt with the pressure, and he's got them the results that mattered, and they're certainly on the up.
You've got to give credit to the owners at St Mirren as well, because they've picked the right man. I thought they could have went another way, and I think this time they've done it right. You know, they took Tommy Craig in, and it wasn't right. He didn't like to handle. He couldn't handle Tommy can't handle the name players, the big names, and he brought the boy Murray in. It just never worked for him.
Yep.
And he's got Alec in there, and I think he's a total football guy, and he's in there, and I think it's the right guy. So
Davy Farrell and Alec worked well. They
Davy's
worked
good,
well
you know.
together at Dundee when they were management team up there. So they know about the first division as well.
after
so.
the game, he's selling his books there.
Yeah, absolutely. The books
Yeah,
have
taxi.
been sold. The taxi's been sidelined, and he's now working in football again, where he's happy. Let's have a look at the scores from League One in Scotland, just in case you're coming in wondering what's happened. There's League One for you, and a couple of big results there. Peterhead leapfrogged Ayr United in the table with that 2-1 win, and Dunfermline out in front. I don't think anybody will stop Alan Johnson's side now. What about League Two? Have a look at the scores from League Two. Couldn't separate them at Hampden, Queen's Park and Elgin, and I think all three other games all ended all square. And in the English Premier League, there you see it, one result that's screaming out, and you can look at all the other results, but there's one there, in fact maybe two. Let me throw two in here. Manchester City 1, Leicester City 3, Tottenham 1, Watford 0. Alan Ruff, Leicester.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're a Leicester supporter, you'll start to believe, and certainly the way things are going just now, and you look at the results, Liverpool dropping, Man City, who's to say the rest of them won't either, and you'd be confident that you could maybe just do that.
Can you imagine Leicester winning the league, Joe, of all seasons this season? It would be incredible.
It is incredible, and it's the style of football they're playing. It's just free flowing, an easy system. And they've taken on the big guns and the big name players, and played without any fear, and played teams off the park like they did today. A Man City side with all big names, big money signings, and they played them off the park at City's ground as well. So a great side.
If Leicester don't win it and Tottenham Hotspur do, they're only 5 points behind Leicester, then Frank goes into hiding with many a West Ham fan. They couldn't tolerate that.
Couldn't tolerate that, no. Couldn't have it.
OK, just before we finish, guys, East Kilbride Celtic, what's the scoreline?
I'm going to go 6-0 Celtic.
Joe?
5-0 Celtic.
Macca?
Bad defence, I'll go 5-1.
5-1, East Kilbride to get a goal.
Yeah. Make their day.
Well, listen, the East Kilbride players will enjoy it for many a day, regardless of the result. It's a great achievement to get that match, and I hope all the guys from East Kilbride, I know them all well, enjoy themselves. Quickly, the Edinburgh Derby, give us your prediction.
I'm going to go, it's a 1-each draw with Hibs to win the replay.
2-1 Hibs.
1-0 Hibs.
1-0 Hibs. Okay, to add a little bit of balance to it, I reckon the Jambos are going to sneak it by the odd goal. I don't have any allegiance whatsoever in this one. I'm just telling you a prediction on it. Whether that happens or not, who knows? It's going to be an absolute cracker. One half of the city might be happy, the other half might be dejected. Who knows? Thanks for joining us today. Sorry about the technical issues, but join us on Monday if you can at 7. From all of us here, good night.